Mom, come, hurry. Ya voy, mija, ya voy.
Happy anniversary, baby.
Why are you so sweet? I love you.
I love you too.
¿Y qué? ¿Estás nervioso por la boda?
Sí, porque tú vas a estar ahí.
No digas eso.
Solo pórtate bien.
Mom, I got in. I got into Harvard.
Bye.
I can't celebrate the best moment of my life because ICE kidnapped my mom.
They took my husband in the middle of the street.
Mis mejores amigos no estarán en mi boda porque están detenidos.
ICE is terrorizing our children.
They're tearing our families apart.
Están arruinando nuestro futuro.
Enough is enough. This is not what America wants. And together we have the power to stop it. So join us.
Dreamer calling on leaders in his party to defend him and accept his place in their coalition as GOP criticism of his rhetoric becomes a key issue in the midterms. And that rhetoric is becoming a bit of a liability for Democrats. Listen.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would Rick Scott.
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers. Murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their red capitalist blood.
Didn't he go to war and literally lose his eye because some mujahideen, a brave soldier, his eye hole with their? Isn't that how he lost his dumb eye? America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying it.
America deserved 9/11, dude. That's what Hassan Piker said. Fox News contributor Liz Peek joins me now. I just don't know how the party welcomes someone who's made such statements into the fold, and even worse, elevates him to a position of prominence, Liz.
Because they can't help themselves, Kevin. Democrats really need young male voters.
I think that the movement to defund the cops hurt the progressive movement.
I think there was a reaction to that slogan, defund the police. But ultimately, I do believe that many Americans, especially over time, will come to realize that the radical position is not, defund or get rid of prisons. The radical position is that believing that America should have the most people in prison of any country in modern history, which is what we have now. I don't think most Americans, when they think about it like that, actually support that. And so DSA is trying to build alternatives.
Big dollars buying this election. So let's look at the midterm polls right now. And let me just caveat it with this is just one set of polls, and this is August. So I don't know. But this is a Fox News poll. It's a respected poll, despite everything else. Georgia has Democrat Ossoff up 13. Iowa has Democrat Turek up 4. North Carolina has Democrat Cooper up 9. Texas has Democrat Tellerico up 3. Maine has Democrat Jackson up 2. Ohio has Sherrod Brown up 8. The only bad news for Democrats in this poll is Michigan. Mike Rogers is above Abdul Al-Sayed, +4 for him. What do you think, Scott? All these races are going to be dogfights until the end. I mean, I do think Democrats have made a huge mistake with Abdul El-Sayed in Michigan, but I think all these races are going to be close. I think the Republicans do have good candidates, and I think the Republicans are going to have plenty of resources, and I think they've got a story to tell. Just Friday, we learned that for the first time in 60 years, prescription drug prices are falling. Every single politician everybody here has ever worked for said they were going to do it. Trump and the Republicans finally did it. There is a story to tell, and there is a bright line contrast to be had in this election. It's not good enough just to call them socialists. You have to say what you've done, and you have to say what the impact of their policies would be. But I think we've got enough candidate quality and talent to do that.
Is a blue wave coming?
I think so. And like you said, it's early.
I want to ask you about what is effectively a battle taking place inside the Democratic Party. Longtime Democratic official Rahm Emanuel, who, as you know, is also eyeing a potential run in 2028, recently described Democratic socialists this way. Take a look.
Last weekend in Chicago, the DSA held their convention. You're not Democrats. You're a separate party. I'll see you in November.
Do Democratic socialists belong in the Democratic Party, Leader Jeffries?
Well, what I can say is that I do not support defunding the police. I do not support open borders. I do not support abolishing the Senate.
we're focused on actually solving problems that hardworking American taxpayers want us to solve, which is to lower the high cost of living in a situation where life is far too expensive in this country. That's the Democratic agenda. That's what House Democrats are fighting to achieve.
Do you think, though, that there is room in the Democratic Party under the tent of the Democratic Party for Democratic Socialists? Is it big enough?
Well, listen, I don't support the DSA agenda as has been articulated by the DSA itself. Now, you're going to have individual members who have been elected in Democratic primaries, and if they are elected in the general in November, will be part of the House Democratic Caucus. It's going to be a broad caucus. There will be progressives, there will be New Dems, there will be Blue Dogs. What I'm excited about are the candidates who are running to flip seats in November to deliver us a majority that pushes back against Donald Trump's extremism and moves the country in the right direction. That means us, House Democrats, lowering the high cost of living in areas like groceries and gas and, of course, housing, and fighting to make health care affordable for every single American, while at the same period of time pushing back against the corruption that has been unleashed on the American people and holding the crooks accountable beginning on day one in January of next year.
All right, so here we are. Fight, President Trump says, fight. You know, there was a movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I absolutely love it. It's about Larry the Liquidator. Danny DeVito plays this, well, most of his movies, he plays like a little troll, but he plays like a corporate raider. And what he would do, he would buy companies that had assets that were worth more than the company was actually worth as a whole. Meaning if they had a factory, I could probably sell that factory and the land and their pension plans for more than what the actual company does in a year. And he has a soliloquy during that movie. And the soliloquy, I don't remember it word for word. You'd have to go watch the movie. But they're trying to stop him from doing a hostile takeover. They're trying to do everything. The existing company is trying to stop him from doing a hostile takeover. Hostile takeover is where you get the shareholders to vote for you instead of the shareholders that want to keep the company in place. And one by one, they come up and they give their speeches as to why the company should retain control. And he gets up after they're always all done. They all gave their speeches. And he looks out at the audience and he goes, amen, amen, and amen. You see, where I come from, I always say amen after the end of a prayer. And what you just heard in that little 6 minutes is a prayer for the dead. He actually says that. You just heard a prayer for the dead. These Democrats are walking zombies. If you go all the way back to the first clip, you remember, and they tried to make it seem like mom and dad and husbands were disappearing, being kidnapped, taken off the street. That's the message they're putting out there as to why not to vote for Republicans. I don't think that's going to work. That's the reason why he was voted in. And then you get, what's his name? Hakeem Jeffries, who gets out there and he's talking about everything except the question that Kristen Welker asked him. Should you have these Democrat socialists in this so-called big tent? And he tried to backstroke and everything else because they think if they get the votes, if they pray hard enough and get these people in, that once they're in, they can control him. That is a prayer for the dead. The Democrat Party knows they have no control. None whatsoever. Their only hope is that we'll help you guys get elected and then you'll coalesce with us so that we have even more power. That is most assuredly a prayer for the dead. And as Larry the Liquidator said in the movie, oh, you're dead all right. You just don't know it. And so the clip before then, you saw the young, whatever, high school, college woman saying, oh, we got too many people in jail. We can't have all these people in jail. We have to let them out. We can't have, instead of addressing, why are they in jail? Why is it that they are there? Perhaps maybe they committed crimes, and you're telling me what you want to sell to Americans is that, yeah, just let them all out. That most assuredly, my friends, is a prayer for the dead. There's no way that works. There's no way that works with anybody with a functioning frontal lobe. That is a prayer for the dead. And sooner or later, somebody has to realize it. You brought this troll of epic proportions called Hassan Piker into your big tent, and he came in with kerosene and matches. The guy can't go 30 seconds without dropping an F-bomb. And he's telling people, yeah, America deserved this, and this is what we should do, and you should go out there and be like Luigi Mangione. And you want to think that's working with America? That's why I say you're watching a prayer for the dead. They are dead. Some of them may know it. Many of them don't realize it. They're hoping people don't find out. And then the last person was Hakeem Jeffries. And Hakeem Jeffries says, we got to stop and help with the cost of living and make sure people can live better. Really? Really? I guess you haven't talked to your Democrat friend in Somaliota. Jacob Fry, the mayor of Minnesota, is sounding a huge alarm. OMG, I need to say the prayer for the dead in between my little dances because we're toast. They turned off the fraud. We can't steal anymore. I don't know what to do. I want you to hear this by Jacob Fry. I don't know if he realized that Hakeem Jeffries was going on television and that the Democrat messaging is we need to make things more affordable. We need to make housing more affordable. Well, tell me how what Hakeem Jeffries and the other Democrats are saying jives with what you hear right now from, Jacob the Somali Lord.
My 2027 budget proposal totals approximately $2.3 billion, including a general fund of $753 million. It proposes an 11.3% increase to the proposed tax levy, about $409 a year, or $34 a month for the median value homeowner. I'm sorry. Did you just say, with a straight face, that you were going to raise property taxes 11+%? Because you can't raise any more money. All the spigots have been turned off. So now you're going to try and get people in Minnesota, which it may work because they're bat poop crazy. Your prayer for the dead is, can you just let us tax your property? It's only like $40 a day. It's very simple. It's just cut out two or three Cale Latte Plates, grandes, and you'll be okay. Wait a minute. I thought they were telling us boomers that we shouldn't be telling people to cut back. I thought everything on X I saw was stop telling people they need to tighten their belt. That's not it. Did you forget to tell him? I'm sorry. I'm just using your stuff against you.
Remember rule number 4 from yesterday, using their own rules, their own messaging against them. They're in trouble. It literally is a prayer for the dead. Minneapolis is facing a $60 million budget disaster after city officials pretended that $20 million in police overtime would somehow only cost $3 million. They only missed it by 7x. City Hall spent years acting like the federal stimulus checks would never run out, that and the fraud. They used one-time jabademic relief to build permanent social programs for the Somalis that the city was never able to afford on its own. They never expected President Trump and some kid named Nick Shirley would find all this crap and go, I don't think so. No, we got to do something here. Now the businesses, the property owners, everybody's going to have to, as they say, pay a fair share, 11.3% more into an already almost abandoned downtown, leaving the tax base in shambles. And of course, it's Mayor Jacob Fry who is left to bridge the gap between their political fantasies and the reality of an empty treasury, which is why now he's forced to raise taxes and cut city jobs.
Second, we have cut 100 positions in our city government. But to be clear, we did not begin with layoffs.
So Mayor Jacob Frey is saying that they need to raise property taxes on residents because they have a budget shortfall of like $60 million. Well, why would they possibly have a budget shortfall? Well, federal prosecutors have described massive multi-year fraud schemes centered around Minneapolis. Wow, well, that's where he's mayor. Isn't that something?
They don't have any money. And yet people tell us in polls and all these things, yeah, the Democrats are winning. No, we're watching people pray. It's a prayer for the dead. There's so much propaganda going on right now. It's insane. This mayor, he prioritized social engineering. He enabled, probably even participated in the Somalian fraud over the basic safety and infrastructure net that allows an economy to breathe, that allows the producers to actually thrive. And now you're going to chase them away. That leaves you, your neighbors, with higher property taxes and fewer city services. Minneapolis, unfortunately for them, isn't the only big blue city facing this problem. It is going to be something that is ongoing as we go. So when I say prayer for the dead, I truly mean these people are walking zombies.
Of course, they have the Feeding Our Future scam, and then they have the Medicaid social services scams. And prosecutors have stated that more than half of roughly $18 billion in federal funds across 14 programs may have been stolen. So I don't know, maybe if you don't let third world Somalians steal all your money, you wouldn't need to raise property taxes on homes.
Yeah. It's amazing. And we are in August. We have 3 months to go to the election. And these people have to dance this tightrope and pretend everything's okay. We're going to be all right. It's Trump's fault. We're going to make sure things are more affordable. It's a facade. And unfortunately, their propaganda is working. I expected it to work on the left. What I didn't expect was it to work on people on the right. People who are wallowing in all this stuff, saying, oh, woe is me, everything sucks, Trump hasn't done anything. And they're not realizing you're being bamboozled. You're completely hoodwinked. You're not paying attention. I had posted this to earlier, since they were talking about polls. I thought this was very interesting. Our buddy, a pollster, says, I remember early 2006, the cancellations kept picking up. It was speculators who bought up blocks of homes to flip. And he was talking about this post here about home builder D.R. Horton cancellations skyrocket to 20% as borrowers are unable to qualify, using even, I don't know, even using 22% more than previous year. And he was talking about this, and he's like, like it was a bad thing. Of course, being in real estate, I don't like to call people out too much, but I said this, if we're buying houses to flip, doesn't that put people in homes and money into the economy? Because if the builder says, I need something to do here, I can't find the right people, and they give someone like me a call and say, hey, can you come over and tell me what you'd give me for this? And we go ahead and do some sort of transaction. It's not because I'm collecting monopoly pieces. I'm not just going to sit there and go, look, Robin, we own this now. No, we are going to, depending on what stage it is, we're going to put some money into it. We're going to rehab that property. If it doesn't need rehab, even better, based on the price that we buy, then we'll be able to put a family in it. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, why isn't D.R. Horton doing that? They're not in that business. They're in the business of building. They're not in the business of going through and finding somebody to get into one of these properties. But in any event, you put somebody in the home, they're happy, they got a place to live, and you're putting money back into the economy. The people who got to work on it and everything else. What's problem is that the libtards don't see this. They don't understand. Or do they? Are they just lying to everybody? There was somebody, and I won't go too far into it, but there was somebody Espy and I were talking to, and she came at me. Supposedly Maga. Not anymore. She hates Trump. She goes, no, it doesn't put people in homes. It puts money in your pocket when you sell it. When you sell it at the price you want to people who can afford your price, because you believe the wealthy deserve it, not poor people, and those who can't afford your price never get in homes. I want you to look at that. This is supposedly somebody on the right who now hates Trump, and they just looked at a business model and they actually said how it works, and didn't realize that they've been so propagandized by X that they don't even know what they're saying. And so I had to just go line by line and show her, no, it doesn't put people in homes. Pretty sure the people who bought from me would beg to differ. They're living in a house that we previously purchased, renovated, and sold to them. It puts money in your pocket when you sell it. You're damn right it does. See, that's the other problem. We have to stop right now being them. We have to applaud success. We have to applaud prosperity. We have a president. All he keeps talking about is prosperity. And there's a pocket of people on the right who friggin' hate prosperity. I don't know how they voted for Trump ever. I don't know how they ever looked at Trump Tower and his helicopters and his jet. How they ever looked at him and said, that's the guy I want to vote for, when he's everything that they hate. And so as I'm looking at that, when you sell it at the price you want to people who can afford your price, that's called selling. That's called business. I'm not a charity. I'm not looking to put people who can't afford a price into a property. That's not what we do. And I'm not ashamed of it. I said, wait, I thought you said it didn't put people in homes. I'm like, are you smoking something? Because now she's saying, I do put them in home, but they're paying my price. Huh? But in any event, what you described is the business. Of course, I sell it to someone who can afford to pay. That's the whole purpose. Damn, woman, put down the bong. And she kept coming back for more and more and more, and just saying some of the craziest stuff you'd want to hear. But I realize as we're listening to people pray the prayer for the dead, understand there's a lot of people on the right that we need to pray for, because they are definitely praying the prayer for the dead because they are being hoodwinked. They don't understand what is happening. and they obviously feel left out. And they're antagonists. It's not like they feel left out and saying, you know, how can I enjoy some of this stuff that President Trump is doing? It's F you. You people are doing this and I can't participate, so you must be wrong. That's happening all over X. I had an example. I reached out and just tagged Elon on this post. And I said, Elon, there's a huge problem. And I'm telling each one of you right now, if you're on X or on Facebook, these accounts from Africa are trying to influence things, and it's working. The misery loves company attitude is prospering. Here's what this person said. This person said, the economic reality of fast food in 2026. In 2019, here's what I paid. Today, that exact same combo costs this much. It's inflation, yada, yada, yada. And I'm going to show you real quick because this is important if you care not to be bamboozled. I would hope that you care, that you're talking to people who understand what Americans' life should be. So I want to show this to you. If you go to anybody's profile, you click on their name. And you don't see much. You see their bio, and you see some things, and it says when they joined. This is the key where you're realizing at this point you're being hoodwinked. If you click on this where it says joined, and you click right there, look what it says. It's an account based in Africa. Right there, that's all you have to do. Either hover over it or click on it. Either way, I just hovered, but if you click on it, it comes up in a full screen, and it says account based in Africa. Look when the person joined last year, January of 2025. There is a war right now that's raging for your mind, and people are falling prey to it because they know how some people feel. And so the more propaganda and the more information that they can put out that you kind of like, that you're looking in that algorithm, they're going to feed you what you're looking for. Sort of like when Abdul Sayed said, hey man, all these OnlyFans things started showing up. Well, it started showing up because you kept clicking on it. It wouldn't have showed up if you didn't click on it at some point. And so right now, people who are feeling woe is me, and they're engaging with this stuff, they're going to get more and more of it so that the mind F, you know what I'm saying, the mind F that they're going through amplifies. And it seems like everybody feels the same way. Everybody is going through the same thing when it's not true. Let me show you something that proves again it's not true. And Marco Rubio said something. I don't know if I have that. Let me see if I can pull this up. Marco Rubio. Should pop right up. I don't see. Oh, here it is. This is what Marco Rubio said yesterday. Marco Rubio may have just found the one thing that can unite Americans across the country. Wink, wink, wink. Somebody's been telling you this. Says the Secretary of the State describes his ideal weekend and outlines exactly how it would go, with his entire Saturday devoted to college football and then waking up on Sunday for a full lineup of NFL games. That is an incredible weekend, in my opinion, in my view. Why do you think he said that? Why did you think the Secretary of State in the Trump administration, you know how Trump feels? By the way, I don't know if you guys saw the Patriot games. Fantastic. It was on ABC broadcasted through ESPN, and it was just fantastic seeing these kids perform. But why do you think Marco Rubio said that? Because he knows where we are. Something I keep telling you guys. So I'm gonna show you something. I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time on this, but it's something when you look at it, you can't look away. You can't look, well, I don't know if that, no, it's true. So I just have a couple things to show you. Let me just pull this up. We'll talk about, SB will get mad, but let's talk about his Giants. And what you may or may not know is that every game that's played, in addition to the scores and the touchdowns and the yards and all that kind of stuff, there's a little stat that most people never see. They never look for. And I understand this is week 1 in preseason, so it's possible that SV's team can recover here. I can't say much because the Dolphins are in the same place. But a preseason game that means absolutely nothing. Nothing. It's just all it is basically a practice. I want to show you, when you scroll all the way down here, it tells you the game information. And in New Jersey, in arguably one of the bluest areas in the country, where everybody's broke that they got to open up fake grocery stores, 77,000 people went to the game. A practice game. A fake game. 77,000. Something's not jiving with what you hear on X with what you see in reality. 77,000 people went to go see arguably one of the crappiest teams in the league, sorry, SB, at their home stadium, which is one of the worst stadiums in the league. And they still brought out 77,000 people on a preseason game. That's the East Coast. Let me show you the West Coast. The West Coast, the Seattle Seahawks, the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, played the Cowboys. All the way on the West Coast, 68,000 people showed up. How can that be if everybody is broke? How can that be if everybody's worried about gas prices and housing and grocery prices? How can this possibly be? Because this is disposable income. This is income. This is money. People say, hey, honey, friends, neighbor, let's head over to the Giants game. Let's go through the subway. Let's go ahead and take an Uber, whatever we need to do. Let's get there. Let's park. Let's eat. Let's have some fun. Fun. And I know this destroys them because you'll never hear a Democrat talk about it. Not one Democrat will you hear them saying, I went to the ball game or something. No, they don't want people to have fun because fun is infectious. And as you can see, there's 70,000 people. Wow, this is pretty awesome. This is freaking awesome. Look at all these people. And so how do you pull yourself and extract it away from this social media dungeon that's happening? Because now you see people from Africa and Pakistan and everything else are saying stuff to you to cater to your weaknesses. When you see it in real life, you're like, this doesn't match. You keep telling me that we have the worst economy ever. When people can't afford their groceries, they can't. Explain it. And it's funny because I'm not even looking at the chat, but you would have to make stuff up to explain it. You would have to say, well, Barry, that's Manhattan. There's like 8 million people. And, there's 8 million people and there's only 78,000 people who went to the game. Yeah, that means that most people probably, it might have already been sold out. My point is, nothing is as it seems on social media. We can't buy into it, and we have to make sure as these people continue to say the prayer for the dead, that we don't listen. Robin watches a movie or something, and as somebody does some sort of incantation, she'll hit the mute. Like, I don't want to hear that, because I don't know what kind of things they're saying that might be coming through the television, and I don't want to bring those spirits into the house. We went to go see with the kids the new Minions movie, and it was the weirdest, almost satanic thing we'd ever seen. We almost walked out because you don't want these things coming into your mind, but you're willingly opening yourself up to this stuff every time you go on X or Facebook. You don't know who you're talking to unless it's a friend, and you don't know who your friend has talked to or your neighbor has talked to. So you have to be able to discern And understand you're listening to the prayer for the dead because they don't have anything left. Of course they're going to trick the polls. Of course they're going to say this and say, oh, they're going to say that people are jumping off Navy ships. Seriously? People are jumping off of Navy ships because they can't, oh, the food is horrible. Robin came to me last night. She goes, look at this. She goes, that's not on a ship. Looks like a jail. There's so, if you know what to look for, there's so much fake stuff going on. And so you have to realize if they're going to that extent to show people or articles that people are jumping off of Navy ships, then you realize if you see that and you understand this is crazy, then you realize at that point you are listening to the prayer for the dead. You have to be 10 feet tall and bulletproof. You can't let this stuff permeate you because it's BS. It's an incantation. It's evil spirits being conjured up. It's not real. And I feel sometimes it kind of makes me feel, I don't know, sick to my stomach because I feel like I have to tell you. And at the same time, it's something we all should know. Step out your door. Go someplace. Put the phone down. They're going to be doing anything they possibly can for the next 3 months to completely mess with your head. There's something happened yesterday during the show. I said it. There was a shooting at the Virginia State University. And I was looking on X while people were talking, and I'm like, there's no stories. And at that point, I knew it. I couldn't confirm it, but I knew it, that the reason why this story is gone from the news is because as soon as I found out it was an HBCU, and I'm like, oh, it's them, Yogi. And sure enough, gone. Not talking about it. There's a war on for your mind. The only way we're going to win this war is for you to have complete clarity and understand you're listening to a prayer for the dead. That's all. I'm going to leave it there. And you're going to have that kind of discernment and pray for that discernment because, man, they are coming hard. Yeah, people are jumping off Navy ships. Good luck with that. This SB, what you got, man?
Hey, man. Good evening.
Hey.
Man, I'll tell you, I saw that picture of the I guess the eating area on the ship, but it's funny. The walls are made of cinder blocks. Since when do they have cinder blocks on a ship?
That'd be kind of heavy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, man. I think I'm expecting a Lego battleship picture on CNN next time.
Robin, Robin, she's never been in the military. I've never been in the military, but she goes, honey, do they put cinder blocks in the mess hall and stuff on a boat? And I'm like, I've never been on a boat like that, but I went through that. There was a big destroyer in Wilmington that's parked there where you can walk on. I'm like, no, there was no cinder blocks on the boat.
Well, pretty much metal. That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I got a couple of things here. 3 cuts. First one is about Fetterman.
Number 1.
Yep.
Let me get to it.
It's a minute and a half video if you want to download it. It's basically him talking about stuff, but I could read the context while you're downloading it.
I'm still trying. Did I scroll too far up? Let's see. I'm at cut 7.
Go to the bottom.
Yeah, I'm at cut 7 and 8 from yesterday. Hold on. Columbia, cut 10, 11. Enos Cantor.
If you go out, click on your icon for the messages, it'll take you right back to the bottom because I have the same thing sometimes.
I'm there. Hold on. Right. Let me make sure this button is working. And yes, it is. Okay.
Bingo. All right. So Mike Lee just invited John Fetterman into the GOP. He goes, John, please join us. We're not socialists because Fetterman is probably going to get primaried in 2028 if he stays a Democrat. I mean, he's really, I mean, you know, there's a lot of people say, I still don't trust him, but I don't know if that that issue he had with his health, the stroke, affected him, but he's actually wearing a suit. I mean, okay.
I don't know. I mean, you know, when people say I don't trust him, number one, unless he's your senator, it doesn't really matter. But here's how I look at it. Could it be any worse? I mean,
Yeah.
if he jumps ship and votes for a couple of the bills, he's still better than Murkowski and sometimes Susan
that.
Collins. You know, give us a couple of them, all right? And that way, you know, even if you're still got some Democrat tendencies, we're still better off than we were before. Like right now, we can't count on a single Democrat, and we already have those 3 or 4 that keep doing crazy stuff. You know, what's the name?
Right.
Murkowski, Collins, and the 2 Walking Dead. The 2 Walking Dead.
Mitch
Tillis,
McConnell.
Oh, 3 Walking Dead. Tillis, Cornyn, and McConnell. We got 3 Walking Dead. It would be interesting to see what happens in November, because with Tillis, Cornyn, and I think McConnell's going to try and stay, but crazy, absolutely crazy.
True that.
All right, so next one.
Got a clandestine story. He spoke about the Candace Owens cult thing, about how they're all taking that new drug called copium. It's a real thing.
Copium.
It's about a 2-minute read or a 1-minute read. That's the way I say it.
Go ahead.
Watching the Candace Owens cult partake in a mass collective cope has been quite enjoyable. Candace and her simpletons seem to think that was a debate, when in reality it was a public exorcism. It was not a contest to see who knows more about the details of the case. It was a showcase to the American public that Candace does not have a single shred of evidence to back up any of her deranged claims. It was a $300K bribe to get her to sit down and show her receipts that all of us know did not exist. The entire point was to expose that she is a fraud, enriching herself on the death of Charlie Kirk and preying on the stupid and the gullible. Mission success. Candace and her cult have spent all their time focusing on gotchas because they have no sense, and deep down, all of them know it. All of their squealing is a distraction from the elephant in the room, that Candace backed down from all her deranged claims and confirmed she doesn't have any evidence of anything. Everything coming from Candace and her cult is 100% cope. The jig is up. Well said.
I disagree. I 100% disagree.
Well, it's not over, right?
No. But when he said the jig is up, is that the crazies, like the lady that was coming back and forth with me, those crazies, you can't tell them the truth. They don't even want to hear the truth. So she will still be their savior. Whatever she says next, if she comes out and goes after Ivanka Trump or something, they're going to be right back. She'll find some other tainted red meat to throw them, and they'll come running right back because they have to. They are too invested in her. Imagine, when did Charlie get killed? It's over a year, right?
It was in September
of 20. Well, yes, close to a year. All right, so in a year, they have been feverishly taking and eating everything she has said. Millions of them. They're not going anywhere. They need her. They need that copium, as Clandestine said. So I think what's she going to lose? A couple 100,000? They'll be right back. And how do I know?
Well,
how do I know?
I don't know, Barry. You're going to tell us. Go ahead, because I have a thought in my head. I don't want to lose it.
There's a guy that talks like this, and he went through a whole bunch of stuff, and there's still a lot.
Are you talking about Alex Jones? Come on, you got to get down low. You're crazy.
All the stuff that got exposed, everything. You would think that guy wouldn't have one follower anymore.
Well, the way I see it, they're making lots of money, and then people who have shows that make money off exposing it.
Yeah. I'm not even going to go there with it.
I'm going to drop that little nugget.
I think everybody knows they were talking about. He's going to get mad. He actually get mad. But yeah, I mean, it just goes. They might as well be like Wally the Nigerian. They put anything out there, and they know there is a bunch of susceptible people. Like Robin asked me, and I said, the National Enquirer, I don't know if it's still out there. Because we don't go to the grocery store anymore, we just have Instacart. But if the National Enquirer has survived and is profitable and has been around for as long as it's been, with the 2-headed baby found behind somebody's house, there's a market for it. There is an absolute market for it. And even though Men in Black made fun of it, they're not going anywhere. because the crazy's got to have crazy.
Well, the last time I saw the headline, I said Paris Hilton had an alien baby. I mean, is that true? Anybody? Anyway,
so there's always going to be another story. There's going to be something else that these people come up with, and so I don't have any doubt that that's what's going to happen. All right, here's number 3.
Yeah,
what do you got here?
Checking in on Byron Donalds. So he had apparently a rally earlier. They said it was pretty packed. That he's doing quite well. So he announced that Governor Ron DeSantis is expected to support his campaign for governor after the GOP primary is over on Tuesday. Great news. This is how you keep Florida deep red. He says the governor has been focused on leading Florida, and that's what his focus has been on. Obviously, he stayed out of this primary, and that's okay, but we anticipate having his support for the stretch run this November. The next paragraph hits me home. Oh, here we go. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to be what happens to Virginia. And Virginia, they elected that commie Abigail Spanberger. And the second she got elected, even though she campaigned like this big moderate, second she got elected, she undid everything that Glenn Youngkin did in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So I think Governor DeSantis and all Republicans in our state know that we can leave nothing to chance. We can't just rest in our laurels. I anticipate to have the governor's support, and we move forward.
You know, many people have asked me, you know, who are you voting for and everything down here. And number 1, he has the support of President Trump. Kind of hard to get away from that. I'm pretty sure he's going to have the support of Marco Rubio. So he's going to have 2 people out of the top 3 in our government endorsing him. And then if he gets Ron DeSantis to support him, he's going to have 2 out of the top 3 in our government and back to top 4 and the current governor supporting him.
Right.
What are you supposed to do at that point? So you either turn your back and disagree and listen to the crazies on X. And, you know, I've had some problems with him in terms of what he stood for. We wanted to have him on the show. He wouldn't come on. He ducked me. Actually, he ducked Ashley.
Oh, wow.
They kept saying, "Oh yeah, we'll get back to you," but he wouldn't come on. And Ashley asked me, "Are you going to go after him? Because there's some things out there." And I'm like, the number one thing I don't want to do is piss off the person who's going to be the governor of the state. And so he's going to win. And hopefully all the stuff is folklore. And I guess I'm not voting so much for him. I'm voting for Rubio, DeSantis, and Trump, who are saying that's the guy we want down there. So
look at what I just sent you. This is what he plans to enact. These are the policies that he's going to try and work on if he gets elected. I didn't have a cut number. I just put the last thing.
You just said something?
At the very bottom. Eric Doherty.
I'm waiting for it to populate. Nothing populated. Let me hit refresh because nothing came in.
Oh, there it is. Sorry.
What did it just come in?
Yeah, just went up.
All right, hold on. Let me see.
Excellent slowness.
I'm glad it was that because I thought it was me for a second. I'm like,
No.
All right,
you're
so
good.
here we go.
All right. So apparently, during his rally, he says that he's going to enact the following policies: even more election integrity laws, continue or expand immigration enforcement, 287G, protect the agricultural lands, protect water and natural resources, all things critical to the future of Florida. We want the Florida dream to be alive and well. We want to remain the free state of Florida. So this is how you win. These are popular with the vast majority of Floridians. I mean, as you said, I think about a week ago, Florida is no longer a swing state. It's heavily red. So
heavily red. One of the other things I know he wants to push. He wants to push the abatement of property tax as well. Unlike what Jacob Fry's doing in Minnesota. You know, we got money down here. It is a surplus. We don't need it. And it's funny because the Democrats no longer talk about Florida. They don't want people looking down here because they would see and I don't understand why more red states don't see what Ron DeSantis has done and decided, hey, we're gonna do some of the stuff he's been doing down there. Yeah, you know, one of the things that freaks people out on the left, what DeSantis has been doing, he's been executing criminals left and right. Sometimes two, sometimes two a day meet Sparky. And they're always down there protesting and like, oh, the lights are flickering. He's gone. So sorry, he's got to go. But yeah, and he protects the fishing and all kinds of stuff down here. So the best thing that Byron Donalds can do is put on Ron DeSantis's shoes and don't mess with anything. Don't fix what ain't broke, and you'll be very successful. Just keep doing more what he had put in place. So that's what
you know. What's interesting? I've looked at a lot of videos of the protesting down in Florida. You know, you see the old people. It's usually all the old people in your area, but they're never in the streets.
No. You know why? you can be roadkill down here.
Yeah.
They approved it that if you block traffic, you can get run over. And if you guys ever want to, you ever have a little bit of time where you'd like to have some comedic relief, go look at Sheriff Grady Judd. Sheriff Grady Judd, my gosh, graveyard dead. You come down here, we go shoot your graveyard dead. I'm like, let me tell you. So last night, my buddy, who we went out to dinner with, and he's been a sheriff for 20-something years, and but unfortunately, his job is in a blue area, and he's like, how bad is it? Well, I can tell you, it's up near Disney, and he's like, cannot believe some of the crazy stuff. Do you know that they wouldn't put the magnetometers in schools to screen for weapons? He goes, every day it's literally a crapshoot. And then 2 weeks ago, a kid brought a weapon to school and they caught him, but he wasn't there to kill kids. He was going to kill his father when he picked him up after school. And he sat there in the office and said, I'm here to kill my father. And they're like, oh, damn. What is wrong with these kids?
Wow.
And he had two guns, but he wasn't there to kill kids. He was there to kill his father. He was going to do it when his father came to pick him up, and they caught him.
Wow. I like that Sheriff Grady. The video where they had a guy, he was a convicted felon, and he tried to pull a gun out after they boxed him. He goes, yeah, we shot him a lot.
Graveyard dead is what they keep saying down here. You shot him graveyard dead. I'm like, oh gosh.
I wish we had more of that around the country, Barry, because we need it. You know.
All right, I'll check with you in a bit here.
See you soon.
All right. Yeah, don't know if you guys saw it today, but Todd Blanche did a really, really interesting interview on Meet the Press this morning. So I've got that for you after I come back for the break. So let me go ahead and run a spot, and then we'll come back. Spot, break, and then Todd Blanche. I got to be straight with you guys. These heat waves, even down here in South Florida, it's hot, but it's not that bad because we got sea breeze. Has me chugging water all day, and once in a while I'll have these days where I still feel tired, bloated, and dried out. Nothing sticks. Turns out it's not a drink more water problem. Dr. Josh, a real physician with 25 plus years who knows the liver inside and out, set me straight. Your liver distributes hydration at the cellular level. If those cells aren't holding water, it just runs right through you all day and all night. That's why you can drink all day and still feel wiped out. You'll have low energy, you can get bloating, you feel dried out. Most electrolyte drinks are full of sugar and salt. So he made LTV, clinical dose marine electrolytes with taurine, so cells actually retain water, which isn't a bad thing. Plus milk thistle and dandelion root for the liver. Zero sugar, zero carbs, zero calories. Thousands of reviews, and I ordered it the first time I spoke to him. Now, every morning, I feel like a different guy. No afternoon crashes. You've seen me. I'm out here for 3 hours. This will be 3 hours again today. No more bloating. I feel clear-headed. I actually feel hydrated and energized. People always ask me, how the hell you sit in that chair for three hours at your age? I'm like, try it. Try it and see what happens. You're like, hey, I'm tired. I can't keep going today. I got to keep going. See, I don't push products that don't work. This one does. If you're still drained this summer, go to drinkltv.com/Barry and get this limited time deal up to 57% off. Buy 2, get 1 free, plus a free jar of creatine, only through the link in the description. It's summer. It's America. You need this. DrinkLTV.com.
to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Hey, there was a comment that I just wanted to answer, and this gentleman says, why would he bring the gun to school? He would have killed his father at home. It doesn't pass a smell test. No, his mother brings him to school. Dad went to work, and Dad's job is to pick him up, or his job was to pick him up afterwards. So he waited until Dad went to work, went into the, wherever Dad kept the guns, and then he went there. Why'd he bring it to school? Because he knew that they didn't have metal detectors. And so he knew that he could probably stash the bag or something, but, they found him because he talked too much and they got him. So that's why. Mom drops him off. Dad picks him up. So he didn't see Dad. He was going to be laying in wait for Dad to show up. Let's see. Take a few comments. Ashley told me, you got to start taking more comments. All right. Barn Show. It's important for the member to vote red down the ballot. Absolutely. All day, all night. My neighbor in Florida heard gunshots the other day. 6 neighbors, and we're on our lawns with guns. Yep. Getting ready. My governor and ex-governor like to make posts about the hottest summer ever and climate change. Truth is, the coldest summer I remember. It's funny because I don't even feel, if people say, how do you feel the heat? No. I'm either in, I'm home, that's why it looks different. I'm in my home studio, air conditioning. I go 10 steps to the car in the garage, air conditioning, drive over to the other studio, air conditioning, and then everything back in reverse. So I never feel it. And then when I get home, we go outside with the dogs, jump in the pool. So the heat doesn't really bother me. And most people down here understand that lifestyle. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, you guys are talking here. Snotty little poop. Yeah, I can't say that. Thanks, Barry. No problem, Todd. Thank you for your comment. Yeah, it was a great dinner. Sitting down with somebody who found me because of the show. We had lost touch, and he told me, I said, how did it happen? He said, I was watching Brandon Tatum, and he goes, I was watching a couple, Officer Tatum, and he goes, I watched a couple of his videos, and then this other guy popped up, and I was down and I was doing a report, and I said, I know that guy, and they're like, yeah, it was me, yeah, because we haven't seen each other probably 26 years. It was pretty wild. All right, so somebody is like, vote for Jay Collins, Republican and military vet. You're wasting your vote. Good guy, but he doesn't have a chance. All right, I wanted to show you before I jumped into the Todd Blanche thing, a couple things that President Trump posted today. So this one with no comment, just another picture trolling everybody. Trump 2028, we are going to win, it says. Hold on a second, I gotta sneeze. It's not ready. Anyway, that's what he posted. He posted Trump 2028, and we're gonna win. Then he posted this. And this is a long one, which I'll bring to you right now. He went after Shannon Bream now of Fox News. Watching Fox News with Shannon Bream is always like watching the worst of fake news CNN. I don't know Shannon, but she always seemed to pick guests, charts, and polls that are negative, never talking about all the incredible things that the Trump administration has done, like total border control, the most successful stock market in history, 81 record days in a year and a half, biggest investment in our country in history, $19.2 trillion, breaking the record many times over, the great military victories over Venezuela, and the essential denuclearization of Iran. I'm going to stop there. That seems to be prevalent on the right. There are people out here who are talking on X. I showed you one. There are people on YouTube who are making videos and are always complaining. There's always a nit to pick. And they're not promoting what's actually good about America. Is he perfect? No. Is everything happening the way we want? No. Is it eons better than if Biden and Kamala were still in charge? Oh, hell yes. But for some reason, I don't know if it's better clicks, if it caused more eyeballs or what, but people are always complaining. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like going downstairs on Christmas and finding you wanted a dirt bike, but instead you got a 10-speed. It's still good. There's no, yeah, I'm sorry you didn't get the dirt bike. I'm sorry you didn't get, like the movie, the BB gun, but you got the 10-speed. But we have this insatiable need to make sure we get what we want. And you have no idea what they're planning. So it's crazy to me. The rest to follow, the lowest crime rate, and he just goes on with the accomplishments. People ask, why does he always repeat them? Now you know why. People keep complaining. The highest number of people that have jobs in the United States ever. The fact that the United States is more respected throughout the world than any time in memory. The biggest drop in drug prices, over 500%, that is never seen before, which will lead to tremendous savings in healthcare. And he's going on and he's listing once again the accomplishments, because if he doesn't, the media won't. And most podcasters and most people in the media completely ignore it. Excuse me. Yet week after week, I see Shannon, quote, interviewing hostile guests and having losers like Juan Williams, who got fired like a dog from PBS, was thrown off of the 5 for somebody even dumber than him, Jessica Tarloff. And when he saw me walking into the headquarters of Fox, he went crazy, begging me for a picture. Could I have a picture with you? It would be such a great honor. In any event, Shannon's show is beyond redemption. Fortunately, Maga, which is close to 100% of the Republican Party, understands that, and watch her ratings start to fall. Chris Wallace was bad, but Shannon is even worse. Oh, well, it couldn't have happened too much of an impact, because I'm now heading back into the Oval Office to continue working on more Trump success for our country. So, yeah, sorry, Shannon, but you pissed him off. Next one he posted. Very happy to see that Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan have recently and finally signed the Mecca Joint Defense Agreement. It shows how the Middle East is coming together and how countries will finally be able to defend themselves in a more meaningful way. Congratulations to the great leadership of the 3 nations mentioned. This is a big, bold, and important first step. Wow. Wow. Okay. That's what he says. That big step. Now, there's 2 very interesting posts that I want to show you. This one was, when was this? This was yesterday at 11 o'clock a.m. Kind of surprising. He posted this yesterday at 11 o'clock. Despite the unfriendly look on this particular picture, there are many where we're smiling. Kim Jong-un and I get along great, President Trump. And remember when he walked across the demilitarized zone and he met with Kim Jong-un and they complained and everything? Interesting. So he posted that yesterday. And then today at 5:04 p.m. today, this got posted. So we're talking about a little over 3 hours ago. This is what he put up. Based on my very good relationship with Kim Jong-un of North Korea, I am not happy with the fact that the United States has long ago agreed to participate in joint military exercises with South Korea. These exercises are not only costly, with much of these costs paid for by the United States of America, as usual, but sends a signal that is totally inappropriate and hostile to a country that, as long as Donald J. Trump has been president, has been unthreatening and respectful. Therefore, and based on the fact that it is too late to cancel, I have instructed Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to substantially reduce the joint military exercises. While somewhat unrelated, I recently asked the president of South Korea if they would like to join us in the denuclearization of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and they said no thanks. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, what does that mean? I have no idea. I'm pretty sure we're going to hear a lot more about this in the next couple of days. The fact that South Korea says we're not playing, we don't want to get involved, and North Korea, whatever war games they were going to play, they're not doing. And this happened so late, as you can see, it happened at 5:04 p.m. I'm pretty sure the news media hasn't got a hold of this yet, so it will be a pretty big thing to come tomorrow. But I wanted to show you guys that. All right, so This is Todd Blanche. We're going to listen to this. We're going to talk about it. This is Todd Blanche on Meet the Press with Kristen Welker, and she does her Kristen Welker stuff, which is be a pain in the ass.
I promise you that I will lead this department with integrity. I promise you that I will focus on our core mission, which is to uphold the rule of law fairly and impartially, to keep this great country safe, and to protect the rights of every citizen in this country. It's a promise that we're going to uphold the law without fear or favor.
And joining me now is Attorney General Todd Blanche. Mr. Attorney General, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your being here in person. As we just heard in your address to the Justice Department staff this week, you said you and DOJ will...
I just noticed his name says Todd Blanche instead of Blanche. Sorry, my bad. I was busy and moving too fast. Forgive me.
Quote, uphold the law without fear or favor. You, of course, used to be President Trump's former personal defense attorney. Can you pledge that the Justice Department will always act independently of the White House?
Well, there's a big difference between saying we will always do our job and investigate any case and act independently of the White House. No, I'm not going to pledge that, and no attorney general should ever pledge that.
Of course not. If you guys remember Merrick Garland and all the stuff he did, now you're trying to drive a wedge between the attorney general and the president. He serves at the pleasure of the president. Of course, he's going to work under the direction of the president. He's not his own agency. He worked, he got picked, he got placed, he got confirmed. Yes, he works at the pleasure of the president. Every time this happens with a Republican confirmation, anybody in the cabinet, they right away try to say, you're not going to do what Trump wants you to do, are you? And I love the fact that he's right off the bat. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you that.
I mean, if I were to pledge I will be independent of the White House, what that means is that if President Trump says, I want the Department of Justice to go after every violent criminal in this country, which is what he has said, what you're saying to me is I should say, no, sir, I'm not going to do it. So I will act with integrity. Our prosecutors will act with integrity. We will prosecute without fear or any sort of favor. And that's exactly what we've been doing, and that's what every Department of Justice should do.
Well, I guess big picture, if the president asks you to do something that you feel crosses an ethical or legal line, would you do it?
The president will never ask me to do something unethical or legal or illegal. He never has. He never will. And no, I swore to the Constitution of the United States, like every cabinet secretary has done, and like every attorney general before me has done. And so this narrative that's mostly pushed by the left and pushed by the media, that the president's going to pull me aside and ask me to do something illegal, is completely a false narrative, not true, will not happen, and hasn't happened.
Okay, let's delve into how you do see your tenure. You appeared with President Trump at the Nassau County Police Academy on Friday. You made some comments that did get a lot of attention. I want to play it, get your reaction on the other side. Take a look.
My administration and my Department of Justice, if anybody touches a federal law enforcement officer in any way inappropriate, we will prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law.
And yet, Mr. Attorney General, on President Trump's first day in office, as you know, he pardoned everyone who attacked the Capitol on January 6th, including 172 people who pleaded guilty to assaulting police officers. How?
January 6th. When was that again? Remember what I was telling you about a prayer for the dead. If you're still talking about January 6th, if you're still bringing that up as though it's some sort of insurrection, if that's what you're talking about right now, you got nothing. This is what they're going to run on, that and Epstein, in the next 3 months. This is what you want to talk about? January 6th? If you listen to what these people say in the press and how they come at with their questions, you will be convinced, man, they really have nothing, do they? With all the things happening in the world, with all the different crime that the DOJ is going after, with all the fraud,
The first question was, are you going to do anything illegal? And the second question is, what about January 6th? How about the bagillions of fraud that we keep finding? How about all that money that's gotten stolen? And that's not even in one of your top questions.
Was that consistent with your pledge to always protect law enforcement?
There's nothing inconsistent about that. The president's pardon powers, any president's pardon powers, are not limited. So when I say, and what the Department of Justice says, and when the FBI says, like we're saying, and every U.S. attorney is saying, that if you assault law enforcement, we will prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law, that is absolutely what President Trump expects, absolutely what I expect of our prosecutors, and that's completely separate from any president's ability to pardon.
But he did the opposite of that effectively. I mean, on January 6th, police officers were beaten with baseball bats. And
you see what I'm saying? As you're hearing this, you're like, wait, you're on network news. You are live on NBC. And this is what you're talking about. You're talking about January 6th. You didn't bring up the most current big problem, including someone who got pardoned. What about Fauci? And you're talking about these people from January 6th.
Flagpoles, do you believe it was wrong to pardon the people who assaulted police officers on January 6th, given that you have vowed to protect law enforcement?
Every attorney general vows to protect law enforcement, including me. And so, no, I'm not opining or in any way saying what President Trump did is wrong. Absolutely not. By the way,
isn't it inconsistent with what you said, though? Is
absolutely
it inconsistent
not.
with your pledge?
No, there's a difference between saying we will prosecute anybody. If later a president chooses to pardon that individual, that is the president's right under our Constitution. Do not forget that a few days before President Trump pardoned the individuals associated and who had pled guilty to the conduct on January 6th, President Biden pardoned hundreds and hundreds of criminals, many of whom were quite violent. So that's his right to do that, just like it's President Trump's right to do that.
But what
Ooh, right back at you. Right back at I didn't have the slap ready because that was definitely slap worthy. What about the day before Biden doing all the same stuff? You didn't have a problem with that though, did you?
What message does it send to police officers that people who assaulted them were pardoned?
The message to police officers is consistent and same every single day, which is that we will protect you. And by the way, that's a little bit interesting coming from a place where we see violent protests breaking out all over the country, in New Jersey, in Minneapolis, in Seattle, in California, and instead of there being a full-throated defense by leadership on the Democrat side, on the Republican side, what you have is it's as if we're doing something wrong by saying we will protect law enforcement and we will prosecute those who assault law enforcement. We're not.
Let's, on this issue of January 6th, your confirmation.
She's hammering January 6th. Literally, what are we at now? 5 years? Almost 6 years? And they keep talking about President Trump relitigating the election, but they can't let go of January 6th. You brought the attorney general, who was not even Trump's attorney back then, and asking, well, what about Trump, what he did back 5 years ago? It's got nothing to do with me, lady. Nothing.
Was actually held up over the so-called anti-weaponization fund. I just want to remind folks what that means. That would have effectively paid people who felt they were in some ways wronged by the federal government and could have included people who attacked the Capitol on January 6th. You signed a document. You testified under oath that the fund is dead.
All right. So now she's into her, like, I'm losing track, third or fourth question, and she still hasn't talked about fraud. Now you're worried about, this anti-weaponization thing that everybody has already said we're not going to go forward with it. And so you're wasting his time once again talking about something it's already been adjudicated. We're not doing it. What part don't you understand, Kristen? We are not going to do the anti-weaponization program. We're not going to do it. But you're going to ask me again.
President Trump has said he wishes it weren't. If the president asks you to revive the fund, will you tell him no?
Well, the president has said it's dead as well. So you can, and as the president has said, that he very strongly believes that those that had this Department of Justice weaponized against them should be compensated. That he's going to continue to say that.
He said it's up to you. He was just asked about it. He said effectively, it's up to you what to do about this.
So, and I've said repeatedly it's dead. And he has also said it's dead. He said it in a cabinet meeting with the press there. And so I think there's this, it might be enjoyable for the media to continually ask me about whether the fund is really dead. And there is no fund. No money went from the Treasury to any account. There were no commissioners established. And so there is no fund. There will be no fund. I've said it repeatedly. And the different angles coming almost every time I speak with the media, someone says, well, wait, is it really dead? And I say, yes, it is. And then the next interview I give, somebody will say to me, is it really dead? And I promise you I will say, yes, it is dead.
So you're saying you rule out ever reviving it, but just to be very clear.
He just said it. You literally let him go. He's talking to you guys. You keep asking me the same question. You keep asking the same question, hoping for a different answer. And what does she do? So what you're saying is, what you're really saying is, I'm like, yo, wench, I just answered your damn question.
Can you guarantee that under your Department of Justice, anyone who attacked the Capitol on January 6th will not receive one dime of taxpayer money if they file a claim against the federal government?
Well, anybody can file a claim against the federal government, not just anybody associated with January 6th. I'm not going to sit here and say on a news program whether a litigation that may or may not happen will result in money. I can't do that. So what I will say is that there's a process in place for decades where somebody that believes they've been wronged or a tort's been committed against them by the federal government can seek redress. And beyond that, I'm not going to comment about hypotheticals of what will happen in any of those cases.
So potentially they could
get
paid under.
So here she comes back again. Lady, you keep asking the same question, and I'm telling you the answer, and you can't take yes, no, or anything for an answer. You keep coming back to the same thing. So what you're saying is, what you're really saying this time is, and I'm thinking to myself, you get paid a lot of money to look really stupid on TV.
Another stream of government funding, but not the anti-weaponization
I don't know
fund.
When you say they could get paid, what is their claim? Is it somebody
the
who pled
Justice
guilty?
Department's judgment fund.
No. So right, but when you say they could get paid, anybody who sues the federal government could get paid. It depends on the facts. It depends on the circumstances. It depends on what it's alleged the government did. And so I don't know the circumstances of any hypothetical case, and I'm not going to comment on a hypothetical case today, but there is a process in place where if you believe that you've had a tort committed against you by the government, whether it's slipping on ice outside of a federal post office or a law enforcement officer assaulting you, you are allowed to seek compensation.
Okay, let's talk about a case that was recently brought before the Justice Department. The DOJ dropped charges against the Olympic canoeist that.
Now they're going to talk about the pool and the guy who slipped. You see, she's avoiding this fraud thing like the plague. People ask me, Barry, are you really that much of a Trump bootlicker? And I'm like, no. I can just see the playing field. Like I've said, I made the football analogy many times. I can rewind the tape. I can see what the opponent's doing. And I can see at this point, they don't have any way to get to the end zone. They're hoping. Their only hope is that we fumble, that we throw an interception, that we do some sort of penalty to get us off of our game. And so her entire strategy here is to get a gotcha so that they can talk about tomorrow. Oh, this is what he said. And they're avoiding using their own strategies. Hey, listen, you got all these socialist nut jobs running, and there's all kinds of fraud. What are you going to do about that? You're going to do nothing. And so that's why I'm confident. And that's why I try to tell you guys, it's not that I'm just so much of a Trump fanboy that I won't look anywhere else. I'm seeing what they got. And so maybe the analogy is too simple, but when I look at an opponent, when I was looking at an opponent in sports, when you look at an opponent in business, you look at what can they do to me? How can they exploit any weakness I may have? So you watch this for a little while. You see them trying to exploit any weakness? They're going back 5 and 6 years and trying to say that's something. Now you're going to talk about a guy who slid a pool? That's what the American people want to hear from you? That's what you think the Attorney General needs to be talking about? That's what makes me sit back and go, we got this. I've seen the game films. They got nothing.
Accused of vandalizing the reflecting pool on the National Mall, saying the damage was caused by, quote, botched installation and not vandalism. President Trump, though, said U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro was wrong and that she should revisit the case. Do you support Jeanine Pirro dropping the case, or do you support President Trump's calls to revive the case?
Yes, I absolutely support U.S. Attorney Pirro, as does President Trump. Now, that's different than whether the president is extraordinarily frustrated at what happened in that case, and I don't in any way fault him for that. And by the way, the filings didn't say that all of the damage was done by faulty construction, okay? So that's where there's some, the media is getting some of the reporting wrong.
Well, it says the damage.
Now, I wanted to let him answer that so I can point something out to you. The question that she's giving right now, that she's getting an answer back from him, is it not answering her question earlier when she asked him, what if the president told you to do something? Would you do it? She's answering her own question in real time on live television, and whoever wrote the questions out for her doesn't realize they just hung her out to dry. You may be thinking, well, Barry, how the hell did they just hang her out to dry? You just told everybody that President Trump was mad and disappointed with Judge Jeanine because she decided not to go forward with the charges. I.e., if he was controlling it, he would have said, get your ass back in there and charge these people. You just answered your own question. He's letting them do their jobs. Yeah, I'm pissed off. I'm disappointed. I wish that she would have done it. But it's her call. And so the idiots watching MSN Now, whatever it's called, or NBC, they're not realizing she's exposing exactly what she asked in the first question. Would you do something independent if if you found out it was, I would make sure that I have to do it the right way. And if it upsets him, that's too bad. And that's exactly what Judge Jeanine did.
It was done as a result of a botched installation and not vandalism as initially represented.
There was potential vandalism, and we know that there was vandalism because there's witnesses, that's also in the brief that you're citing, that there's witnesses that talked about the fact that there was vandalism.
What do you mean by potential vandalism?
Well, there's a witness that said, I observed the defendant vandalizing the reflecting pool. Now, that's different than whether ultimately we had the proof, and you saw what U.S. Attorney Pirro said about that in her filings. And I said this before, we're talking about a single case, okay? We're talking about one case. We had another case of vandalism against a memorial earlier this week. This is horrible what's happening in our nation's capital with some of these really, really sick people vandalizing our national monuments. And Attorney General, U.S. Attorney Pirro is doing a phenomenal job of enforcing that, going after anybody who's doing it. And I think judging her on a single case because of the evidence that we had is not fair.
Should the president have a voice in individual prosecution decisions at all?
Oh, Todd, I don't know how he keeps his composure. She's come right back to the first question. She just phrased it another way. Will you do something if he wants to tell you how to do it? And should the president have any? Wow.
Every American has a voice in prosecutions. I mean, we hear from Americans all the time. As a matter of fact, many of our investigations start with an American citizen coming forward and saying they saw something. And so whether President Trump should have a, quote, voice, it depends.
Would you take his opinions into consideration when he says, I think this case should be revived? Will you take that into consideration?
Seriously. She's got 5 more minutes here, and she hasn't talked about anything that Americans really care about. You have the opportunity to talk to the Attorney General of the United States with everything that's going on in this country, with the people who got to get tossed out of here, with the raids of all the gazillion dollars in fraud. This is what she's talking about, the reflecting pool. I'm feeling really good.
So hold on. Will I take the President of the United States' view on something into consideration? Yes, of course. And I hope every attorney general in history would not answer that question differently. Just let's play that out. The President of the United States, the elected President of the United States, says something to me, and I'm supposed to say to you, I would say, nope. I mean, that's not the way it works. Now, the President is extraordinarily, every day he wakes up with one mission, which is making this country better. And as it relates to me, making this country safer. So if he has a view on that, he talks about it on social media, he talks about it when he speaks to the American people. That's certainly something that I listen to.
I'm asking in part because we did see this clash play out in his first term. Bill Barr, the Attorney General during President Trump's first term, did push back against President Trump in 2020. As you recall, he told him his election claims were detached from reality. If you were faced with a similar situation, something that you did not think actually met the standard, the legal standard in your mind, would you stand up to the president?
I mean, so I will always stand up for what's right. And I do not, the president does not expect any of his leaders, including me, to just say yes to him no matter what he says. And so, of course, there's vigorous back and forth with every cabinet member in the president of the United States, which is exactly what President Trump expects. And there again, there is this extraordinarily false narrative that the president wakes up in the morning and calls me and says, Todd, go prosecute X or Y. He does not do that. He has never done that. He will never do that. And so if there's something that he wants to do, but he needs to know that there's a challenge or that we can't do it, of course I will tell him. It happens all the time with all of his leaders, and that's what he expects.
One of the issues that he really cares about, the midterms, and there's been a lot of focus on the midterms as it relates to the Justice Department, which has lost 22 cases trying to force states to turn over their voter rolls. State officials have...
You ignorant slut. You see how she just threw that in there? You lost 22 cases. You mean all the blue states that don't want to participate in election integrity? Those states with those district judges, those are the ones you're talking about? The ones who obviously are doing things bad and don't want anybody to know, who've got these crazy judges in their pocket, those 22 states? I wish he hammered her right there.
Pushed back against those moves. They say states dictate how elections are run, not the federal government. Is it time for the DOJ to drop this fight, and will you do it?
Well, we're relying on a statute passed by Congress that allows us, in the right circumstances, to review and get those voter rolls. And so, yes, no, we're not going to stop doing what I think every American should expect us to do, which is make sure that we have elections that are fair. And as that relates to the Department of Justice, that means making sure that there are no constitutional legal violations, even at the state level. So, yes, the President Trump, this administration knows and of course understands that states administer elections, and that will always be the case, but it doesn't mean the federal government should play no role. And so the tension there is, of course, whether we should be playing the role that we're playing, and that's really what we're litigating.
How far are you willing to take this fight? Because you've been ruled against now 22 times. Are you going to...
Oh, here it comes again. You trying to let her audience know we keep beating them. Because that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to rev up the base. She's trying to let the Democrats who are watching going, yeah, we keep whooping up on them 22 times, 22 different states. Do the math, honey. There's 50 states. There's 50 of them. 22 don't want to play. That means what? 28 do want to play? There's a problem with the Democrat Party, and she's not understanding. Why wouldn't you want to have the voter rolls looked at? What are you afraid of? Why wouldn't you want everybody to have clean voter rolls?
Take this all the way to the Supreme Court, do you anticipate?
We'll see. We'll see what happens. We're trying to work it out with states. Of course, yes, absolutely, it's a possibility. Election integrity is something that President Trump ran on, and the American people elected him. It's something that every American should care about. And so the idea that the Department of Justice is trying to investigate issues around elections to make sure they're fair and make sure they're conducted the right way is not something that we should be running away from. That's something we should be running right towards.
I want to finally shift gears here a little bit and ask you about an issue that is, full disclosure, close to us here at NBC, the kidnapping of Savannah Guthrie's beloved mom.
I'm not laughing at. I don't want anybody to come at me. I'm not laughing at the horrible story that Savannah Guthrie's mom was kidnapped and she hasn't been found. I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at this witch. She just said infinality, meaning she's rapping with this. And so as she's rapping, talking about Savannah Guthrie's mother, you now realize she had 15 minutes with the Attorney General of the United States and didn't raise fraud or illegal aliens one time. It is conspicuous by its absence. It's like you walked around it, so you didn't have to touch it. You didn't ask about the Somalis. You didn't ask about anything that Nick Shirley found. You didn't ask about what Dr. Oz is uncovering. You don't ask about the task force that J.D. Vance is chairing, and all the stuff that they keep finding on almost a daily basis. You didn't ask, how did they steal $200 and $300 million? No, let's go. Let's wrap this up by talking about Savannah Guthrie's mom.
Nancy, the FBI told the Wall Street Journal, quote, "The state is the lead in this investigation, has always been the lead." Mr. Attorney General, she has been missing for more than 6 months now. Is it time for the FBI to take the lead in this investigation?
It's a horrible situation, and I share the grief and the frustration that you and your colleagues have, and that the whole country has in this situation. I mean, I think whether the FBI takes the lead, we are there to support and give, and President Trump pledged it, Director Patel pledged it, the resources, anything that investigation needs. We are working as hard as we can with the state and local law enforcement in every area, and that means not only providing assistance with manpower, but any sort of forensic assistance. And so we're going to continue to do that. Whether we come in with sharp elbows and take it over, that's not necessarily the right thing to do for her or for anybody, but making sure it's done right and making sure that this investigation is being conducted the way that it should be is something we're doing.
Is there an update? Are you any closer to solving this?
I don't have any update. I don't, and I'm sorry to say that because I wish I had an update. And I know that this type of case is heartbreaking, especially when it plays out nationally like this one has. And all I can say is that Director Patel and his leadership and the leadership out in that area of the country it will remain a priority, as it should, with resources and with energy and with focus, and we hope that we get something soon.
All right, Mr. Attorney General, thank you so very much for being here.
And that's it. Rush Limbaugh coined a name for Meet the Press, and he called Meet the Press back when it was Up Chuck Todd. He called it Meet the Depressed. I have a new name, Rush. Rush, you're no longer here. Hopefully you're okay with this, because they're no longer depressed. We should call them Meet the Suppressed, because they are suppressing information. They don't want people even knowing about certain things. It's incredible that you have the top law dog in the country in front of you, and you don't ask about any of the crimes that Americans, real Americans, care about. And so people can challenge me all the time. People can say, Barry, you just seem to go along with anything President Trump says. And I just have to go back to my sports analogy since it's football season. The coach is winning. I've seen what these people have. They got nothing. I mean, you just saw it yourself. She on purpose suppressed, Meet the Suppressed. She suppressed any talk. Didn't want to bring it up. Nothing about what's coming, obviously coming very soon. If I were her, I would have said, we keep hearing stuff in conservative circles about Andrew Jackson, and we keep hearing things about, Insurrection Act. She didn't answer any of that stuff, did you? Nope. Didn't bring that up. There's a lot of people talking. A lot of people talking about the Insurrection Act. A lot of people talking about Andrew Jackson and what he may do. Nobody's talking about the Defense Act in terms of, being able to do some stuff with the election. She didn't bring any of that stuff up, and she closed it with Savannah Guthrie's mother.
I understand it may be a big story in the halls of NBC, but that's not what you want to ask the Attorney General. You want to ask the Attorney General what he's working on, what he's doing that most Americans care about, even if it goes against what you guys want. Wouldn't you love to hear, hey, listen, you've been talking to President Trump about the Insurrection Act? I would have loved to hear that answer. You've been talking to President Trump about where the investigations go further in terms of understanding where this fraud is? You've been talking to President Trump about Fauci? None of it. None of the big stories. At least you didn't ask about Epstein. I guess Savannah Guthrie's mom is more important than that. But these people have nothing. Zippo. They run around, let these socialists do what they want. Try to be this big tent that they need. They need the votes. They're trying to court the people. And at the same time, it ain't working. Let me check with SB. Hey, there you go. What you got? Anything?
Hey, Barry, I suddenly have an urge for a beaver tail. I have friends in Canada. Now, it's not what you think. It's not what you think. A beaver tail is a popular Canadian fried dough pastry. Excuse me, dough pastry. It's not beaver meat. It's shaped like a beaver's tail, and it's topped with like a lot of sweet stuff. So, but the next story is going to be interesting. Cut 5, Alberta. Check it out.
Scott Bessent. Yeah, I like him. What do you got?
All right. The conservative province of Alberta is voting to begin the process of seceding from Canada on October 19th. If it succeeds, Alberta will begin the process of succeeding pending a final vote next year. Scott Bessent has encouraged Alberta, noting they want sovereignty from the leftists in Canada. Succeed. USA will gladly take you. Will likely even get 2 GOP senators.
Why don't we just, at this point negotiate like it is a football team and work a trade here? Okay, we'll take Alberta. Right. You guys can have California. Okay, we'll just trade it off. Here, okay, and you know what? And we'll give you, I don't know, one of them other states, Minnesota. You can have Minnesota too. All right, you get Minnesota and California. We'll take Alberta. Oh,
this is like Monopoly. I always loved that game. I always won that game. I bought everything up. Those high rents. Define your fair share of Monopoly.
Fair share. All right. So what's this one? We got
the next one. I'm not going to read the whole thing.
It's a long one.
Yeah. So apparently, Trump just posted on Truth this story. It's down below, but I'll read a couple paragraphs and try to summarize. So President Trump just blasted his message.
Let me go to it real quick here. If he just posted it on
Truth. He did. No, he put a link. It's a link, so that's why it's not showing up. The link goes to Hewitt, who's a reporter. Anyway, President Trump just blasted this message to the Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, immediately urging him to allow construction to proceed with the military complex White House ballroom. President Trump has ingeniously designated this a military complex, which strengthens his argument in the courts. Hewitt, I hope the Chief Justice stays the D.C. Circuit Order Tuesday by COB and makes it clear that construction may continue on and unless the Supreme Court orders it halted. I mean, all the lefts want it to not happen because they want him to be eliminated, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. So this is not a closed deal yet. It's still got some issues, but getting down to the last paragraph, it says, imagine the consequences of a state sponsor of terror successfully targeting the White House if necessary defenses that would have deflected the attack are not in place because of this ridiculous litigation.
They would be happy. They would absolutely love that if that were to take. Gosh, crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right, so let me take a break and come back and we'll finish up with some news. Thank you.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
So before I get to the stories, I did want to give you some administrative news here, what's going to be happening. So I know it's going to freak some people out, but we are going to do the call-in, but we're probably going to do the call-in as a completely separate show. Like I told you, we're still working on it for a September 1st launch, getting a bunch of new equipment and putting it all together so we can have a very good call-in session, utilizing SV as the screener. So you'd be talking to SV first, and then when you talk to him, you'll be brought on. We're going to make sure this is managed very well so we don't get a bunch of crazies, not a lot of negative, nasty talk. What we're going to be looking for is actual conversation about issues. And so what we'll do is, I don't want to give it away because people will copy us, but we're gonna ask for you guys to really be substantive in your questions. And that may cut down on the number of calls that we get, but that's okay because we want a substantive discussion. And I think it's going to be fun. We're going to try it out. The first couple of days is probably going to be tough, but that should launch on September 1st, and it's going to be a lot different than some other channels you may hear call-ins from. So we've got a whole team we're putting together. Beth is going to be doing some stuff. Ashley's, as you know, is going to be doing some stuff, and an SV as well. So we're going to be launching that. In addition, about the same time, if not sooner, at the main studio, you're going to see the different backdrop and seeing what we're doing. So a lot of changes coming up in the next couple of weeks because I really think things are going to begin taking off. We've gotten through the doldrums of summer. We got through. We're mid-August right now, and everybody is still on vacation to Senate, but it's going to ramp up very, very quick. And so a couple more changes I don't want to say right yet, but you should see them coming very, very soon. Today is August 16th, so 2 weeks. 2 weeks, you're going to see a whole bunch of changes. All right, let me go.
There's been an argument that they need to moderate or concern over what that's going to look like should they succeed, or that they may not succeed, that they might be defeated by Republicans despite them not doing well in the polling either. What would you say to the moderates in your party who feel that way?
I would say to the moderates in our party, you need to figure out how to actually offer something new to voters that isn't just the same message that you gave them in 2024. Increasingly, the reason why the establishment of our party is being defeated over and over and over again is it's because they don't have the right values that are aligned with not just the Democratic base, but the American people, where people are sick and tired of listening to Democrats who tell them all the reasons why they can't solve their problems. If you can't solve our problems, you shouldn't be running for office.
See, that's one of the problems I have right there. It was one of the problems I had with the lady that was bitching about real estate. I don't look for government to solve my problems. Most people I know don't look for government to solve their problems. They're your problems. Whatever those problems are, they're your problems, not the government's problems. I've said it before. There is no way a government can make housing more affordable. Can't be done. I did some information today, something, because I'm in real estate, so I've looked in some databases. The average, for a low-end home, like low-end, linoleum floors and some, basic Home Depot-style cabinets, for a low-end home, right now, it's about $150 per square foot. You got that? 5 years ago, it was about $150 per square foot. Not much has changed in the cost of constructing a new home. But that's just the construction. Now you got to have the dirt. And unfortunately, when people say starter homes, you're looking at probably $250,000, $300,000 before anybody can actually get the key. And that's with no profit. And so I would ask, maybe Caitlin did know, ask David Hogg, who's basically just showed up on the scene after what happened down here in Parkland, and say, how are you going to solve these problems? Can somebody actually ask these people a question? How are you going to get housing cheaper? I'd love to hear the answer. How? What are you going to do to get grocery prices cheaper? What's the answer? The government can't do that. The only thing the government could do right now with gas prices is take away all the taxes they put on it per gallon. I forget what they say, how much California sticks on top of the price of gas. So when you're looking for an answer, the government isn't the fairy. They're not going to come out with the magic wand and say, oh, we're going to fix this or fix that. They can't fix it. And I don't understand why adults don't get that. There's nothing they can do. They might promise it. They might use it as a campaign speech, but there's nothing they can do. So what's President Trump doing? He's working on the stuff that they can do. I'm going to do tariffs. I'm going to get the stock market up. I'm going to make sure that this and this and this happen. I'm going to try and protect you. The other stuff you got to take care of. And I would love for people to tell me, how do you expect the government to make a house cheaper? Nobody will answer that.
We need people who actually sound at a minimum and genuinely believe what they are saying.
Prosecuting him, the guy should be in a mental institution. He's a textbook sociopath. I mean, DSM-5 level sociopath who was running our pandemic response. Low empathy, ability to inflict pain on innocents, narcissism.
Look at the liberal woman. She looks like she wants to throw up as she's hearing this woman slay Fauci. Oh my God! Don't talk about Lord Fauci that way. Oh my gosh! Don't give us the look. Give us a response. See, again, I see all this news, and I just say to myself, the ugly look, the swearing, the getting pissed off. Okay, go ahead, do it. Now you want to answer what went on? Now, after all that contortion and mean and everything else, now can you tell us what you're actually gonna do?
I mean, let me read diary entries for you.
Who are you
verbatim?
talking about?
At the height of the pandemic, hold on,
guys.
At the height of the pandemic,
hold on, Caroline.
This is March 2020.
Caroline, let me just ask you.
He's writing in his diary.
Hold on. What are you talking about?
Oh,
what are you talking about? I think she just told you what she's talking about. The guy is Mengele. The guy was trying to do certain things with dogs and people. He was performing experiments. What are you talking about? How do you know? He told us. I consume so much of this stuff, so you guys don't have to. And it just leads me to thinking they've got nothing. They have anger. They have angst. They have nothing to retort. What are you talking about?
Are you suggesting that he should be in a mental institution for having an ego, which I'm
close to that.
Which I think would characterize just about every single person in Washington.
At the height of the pandemic, when Americans aren't allowed to see grandma dying of COVID, what is Anthony Fauci writing about?
Caroline.
The media is so hot.
Respectfully, there is one person at this
so
table
many
who worked
interviews.
with
I've had
Dr. Fauci.
so many
I worked at the White
articles
House.
written about me.
Caroline, I worked at the White House during COVID. I was Trump's deputy press secretary during COVID. So I actually worked with people like Dr. Fauci.
He couldn't keep him off TV. You're in the press office. You would know his face was on.
And guess what, Caroline? Guess what? Of course.
You couldn't keep him off of TV. You did a great job. They got nothing. Nothing.
And when Mamdani, I don't know if you heard this, he released a list of 950,000 names or addresses that were subject to attacks. I want to be clear, that was public information, but when you put it out and imply these people have done something wrong, and you already have their tax, you already have their tax filings, and you could just tax them. I'm actually in favor of the pied-à-terre tax. And
this is Scott Galloway, author, nut job, worth about $100 million. He's like, I'm for paying more tax.
I just didn't like the fact that he put my name out there. Other than that, I'm for it. You're full of crap, because if you were for it, you could have been writing a check to the city anytime you want. You could have said, you know what? I don't need a law. Here's an extra $5 million. I got it laying around. That's how you call these people under BS. If you truly believe in paying more taxes, then the question is, why haven't you? Nobody stops you. Every single person in the chat could today write a check to the IRS or the city you live in and go, here, I'm just going to give it to you. So don't come on some podcast and tell me, the only problem I had was that he doxed me.
Absentee wealthy owner, in my view, should be subsidizing the property taxes of a nurse working at NYU Langone that has.
Okay, do you hear what he just said? In my opinion, the property owner should be subsidizing the income of a nurse. Yes, Scott, if that's what you believe, why haven't you been doing it? These people are so full of crap, their faces and eyes are turning brown. He just told you I'm in favor of rich people subsidizing the income of a nurse. Yet I've never done it. Why? Tell me why you've never cut a check to some nursing association or the city. Why? Why haven't you?
Spent 40% of her income on rent. I'm in favor of the tax. It's going to cost me a lot of money. I get it. But to release addresses, it feels like in some implying you've done something wrong.
You did do something wrong. You backed Mandami. You thought everything was going to be okay because you're a libtard, and everything was going to be copacetic. We're not going to get any trouble. I can be here in my big, penthouse. I got $100 million. Everything. He released my name. See, that's the problem. Is liberal media knows who he is. Many of you may not have known who this guy is. I didn't know who this guy is. Now he's worried because a lot of little Mangionis are running around New York City, and they're like, that guy's got like 100 million. That guy right there. Oh yeah, he's got 100 million. We need to go see Scotty. That's why you're worried. You're worried that you can no longer live your rich life in anonymity. You're concerned at this point, very concerned, that everybody knows you got bucks. See, you're such a nondescript looking guy. You'd walk past this guy in the subway and you would never have an idea, ever. He could walk down Times Square. You would never think this guy's walking around with a Centurion American Express card and he's worth 100 million. Now you do. So if everything is so great, what you worried about? Mandami's doing fantastic. But he put my name and now my face out there. What am I going to do if they jack me? We just saw the trial of Mangione, who popped the guy in the back, and he's got Manson chicks all around him. What do you think of him for bait?
I'm going to dox it. They have done something wrong, and I want everyone to know who they are. This feels like just straight up doxing to me.
How do you think Ken Griffin feels? Mandami did a a commercial going, yeah, the guy lives up there and he paid $200 million for that condo up there. Ken Griffin, wink, wink, in case you want to go see him. You didn't have a problem with that, though. The Democrats are hypocrites. Everything they say is like, oh, no, thee, me, we, they. No, not me. Now I can't walk down the street. Now I can't walk down Park Avenue and looking completely oblivious, like nobody knows who the hell I am, because now they all know I got $100 million. Yes. Good luck.
Can you believe this? Anyone who doesn't seek to compromise and find common ground with the left at this point.
All right, so I'm going to have to pause so you can read this. Our favorite pollster put this out. Anyone who doesn't seek to compromise and find common ground with the left at this point is probably pro-oligarchy or pro-neocon. Nice use of the big words that nobody in real life ever uses. So you're telling us we have to compromise on top of everything else. SV sends me his stuff all the time. And I'm like, no, he didn't just say that, did he? Yeah, this time he said we all need to compromise. What? And Sean Parrish, that's who was in the video. It's like, you serious, bro? After what they did to us?
Is probably pro-oligarchy or pro-neocon. So let me get this straight. If I don't want to compromise with the same people who sent an armed SWAT team to my house, if I don't want to compromise with the same people who threw open the border and let everybody and their mother pour into our country, if I don't want to compromise with the same people who want to cut off kids' genitals, put men in women's sports, if I don't want to compromise with the same people who don't want to hold criminals accountable, violent criminals, to the detriment and the expense of the American people,
I got to stop you, Sean, because the question that you should be asking is, hey, Mark, why is it that you want to compromise? Turn it back on them. Remember, we're now using Alinsky's rules against them. Hey, if you're telling me I need to compromise, I need you to tell me why you want to. What is making you want to all of a sudden compromise with these libtards? Where do they have you over the toilet bowl or something, over some barrel, where now you're like, hey, listen, they're not that bad. They're not going to do anything wrong to you. They're not going to take your property. They're not going to raise your taxes. They're not going to let the illegals run rampant. They're not going to steal fraud. Let's go ahead and reach across and compromise with them. How about no?
I don't want to compromise with communists. I'm pro-oligarchy or pro-neocon. I wonder how far up Mark Mitchell's ass Bernie Sanders' hand went before he came up with this talking point. Because this is pathetic. It is weak, pathetic people like this that will be the death of our country. No, I'm not going to compromise with the left. I'm not interested in compromising with the left. When is the last time the left ever compromised with us? When's the last time they've made a concession? The answer is never. How come it's always us that has to give?
Yeah, why is that? I don't see anybody, not Hakeem Jeffries, not Bernie, not AOC. None of them say, here's what, we're going to work with you. In fact, they say just the opposite. We're going to destroy the Supreme Court. We're going to just completely destroy the Senate. We're going to completely destroy the Electoral College. We're going to tax you until you can't be taxed anymore. We're going to let every possible person from every country come in and make you pay for them. Wait a second. Which one can I compromise with? Hey guys, can I talk to you about any of those things? Can we keep the Supreme Court? Okay, instead of being 9, can we go to 14 or 15, or you just want to have them gone? Instead of tearing down the Senate, can we keep a couple senators and maybe, you can have Murkowski and Collins. We'll take Fetterman. Can we compromise? No, they don't want to compromise with us. They tell us they want to destroy America. They want to force Medicare for all down your throat. Where's the compromise, Mark? And I don't like putting people out there like that, but this doesn't make any sense. None whatsoever.
How come it's always us that always has to cede ground? When has this ever resulted in us coming out on top? Never. This is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Mark Mitchell, the next time you're sitting down to pee, because we all know that's what you do, look down. Let us know if your balls are still attached, because I don't think they are. Maybe you cut yours off to compromise with the left, Mark Mitchell. Honest pollster. He could take his honest polling. He could shove it right up his ass.
I didn't say it. It wasn't me. I thought it. SB has thought it. I didn't say it. I never posted and said that. So somebody else said it, but I 100% agree. So I mentioned the other day, how can you respect the polling of anybody who now has, forget all the stuff he said about Trump, forget all the stuff he said on my interviews, forget all that, like it never happened. How do you trust the integrity of any poll that somebody says we should be compromising with? to me, that should be basically suicidal for your business. At that point, everybody should be turning off. And so I'm going to go back to what I've been saying. Reading the landscape and seeing the game film. Are you seeing what I'm showing you? Does it seem like they're winning anywhere? They're telling us, hey, listen, you guys might be kicking their ass and Trump may be winning, but why don't you reach across the aisle? Maybe they won't rip the Senate apart. Maybe they won't destroy the Electoral College. Maybe they won't open up the gates like they're doing in Spain. Well, which one do you want us to compromise on? Because they got so many things that I can't talk to somebody. I don't want to talk to somebody who has that kind of ideology. F you. This is America. Like that first thing I showed you where the little girl was like, hey, it took my father, it took my mother. You know what? Go with them. We don't care. You didn't have to be poof, mom was gone, or poof, the husband was gone. You both can go. If you're telling me you've been in this country for that long and you haven't tried to do things the right way, then you don't need to be here. Sick of it.
New executive orders on birth tourism and birthright citizenship. Now, back at the end of June, the Supreme Court ruled against his first push. Fox News Sunday anchor Shannon Bream here to take us through it. Shannon, nice to see you. Good morning. He said we are making adjustments. What adjustments? How do you see it legally? Does it fly?
Well, a couple of different ways, Bill. So remember what the Supreme Court did was say you can't have this sweeping.
What I found interesting was, as I put this piece together, is obviously this was a couple days ago, and President Trump came out today and destroyed her. I don't want to have anything to do with Shannon Bream. Maybe I should skip this segment.
Executive order that says no birthright citizenship for people who were born here and their parents don't have the proper legal status. There were already exceptions to birthright citizenship, meaning children of foreign dignitaries, diplomats born in the U.S., they didn't have birthright citizenship. So one of these executive orders is trying to expand the definition of who would be ineligible for birthright citizenship. The other one is aimed at birth tourism, which, as you know, came up during the Supreme Court arguments.
Okay, so we got a clip from that. John Roberts was a no, as you pointed out to me earlier. Here's the audio now from the arguments, and you were inside. Listen.
You mentioned in your briefing and also this morning the problem of birth tourism. Do you have any information about how common that is or how significant a problem it is?
It's a great question. No one knows for sure.
Well, it certainly wasn't a problem in the 19th century.
It wasn't a problem in the 19th century because they hadn't made it a cottage business. Now, incidentally, as when they went to the Supreme Court and when they were, going with this case, remember what happened last week where they found out all the wedding fraud that they were doing. So they have a lot more ammunition to tell the Supreme Court now. Now it is very prevalent. People are coming here to have babies and get married. So now we've got a whole bunch of data to show you.
No, but of course, we're in a new world now, as Justice Alito pointed out, where 8 billion people are one plane ride away from having a child who's a U.S. citizen.
Well, it's a new world. It's the same Constitution.
Okay, that last. Go ahead, Shannon. You were in there for it. How did you hear it?
I mean, that was the key phrase from the chief there. It may be a new world. So acknowledging that there are these issues and problems the founders could not have seen and they couldn't have foreseen.
I don't know which way it's going to go, but I almost feel like President Trump held back so he could see where things were going to land, because they had to have known about this birth wedding stuff that was going on. That didn't get exposed and arrested in the whole investigation happened in 2 weeks. Nope, couldn't have happened. Had to have been something they were working on. And so if you assume that they've been working on busting these wedding rings, not wedding ring, but the wedding, the scammers, if they've been working on that for a while, they didn't mention it during this Supreme Court hearing. So now they're going to go back and they've got data to show that people are getting married and having babies here for the sole purpose of, becoming citizens. So they can, and they're getting paid big bucks, $100,000 at a time. Yes, it's a major problem. Was it a problem in the 19th century? Well, back then,
it didn't exist because people stayed in their countries because they didn't have an overrun like Spain is dealing with right now. Think about that. In the 19th century, were people swimming across the water to get in Spain? No. Then the media lies, says all the guys went home, and then they're walking around the street just trashing the place. Is that what you want here, John Roberts? Is that what you want here? We have no choice but to close everything. Stop it. We got to stop it.
So one of Michigan's top leaders, your Attorney General, Dana Nessel, she's a Democrat. She also is Jewish. She had this to say recently about whether she would feel welcome attending the top Democratic gathering in your state. Let's watch. We'll talk about it. Oh, it's a full screen. Excuse me. I feel like my presence isn't going to be welcome, she said. I don't want to get chased around. I don't want to get harassed. I don't want to get yelled and screamed at. I don't want to get booed off the stage, irrespective of what I'm saying. And I believe that if I go, that's what will happen, because it's been happening to me. This is her talking about the convention. And, you know, I saw a clip where she said she doesn't feel like it's because people care that she's a woman or care that she's gay, but they care that she's Jewish. Are Jews no longer welcome in the Democratic Party in Michigan?
They're not welcome anywhere in the Democrat Party anymore with these people. I don't know how Chuck Schumer and Bernie can even face anybody. They don't realize that they are completely being used.
We have seen rising anti-Semitism. And I even said at our last convention, my husband, who is Jewish, I'm in an interfaith marriage, an anti-Semitic slur was screamed in his face when he was with my 5-year-old daughter. We have some healing to do here.
A few moments later.
Yeah, you know, it was surprising in a lot of ways. I think a lot of people looked at polls and they looked at trajectories and they looked at how things were going in Michigan and had made up their mind about what was about to happen in Michigan. And if there's anything that is consistent about Michigan, you never have any idea what's going to happen in Michigan. But as I left the Democratic Party unity breakfast this morning, one of the things that I shared there and that I take away from what happened on Tuesday is there was all this talk about which direction is the Democratic Party going. Are we going more progressive? Is it outsiders? Is it establishment? Is it experience? The results told me that Michiganders rejected that premise entirely, and we decided to grow the party.
We decided to grow the party with all these, you know what. And those interviews happened literally the same day. She was on CNN with Casey Hunt. Now, you know, the anti-Semitism, we're going to have to watch out for that. Later in the day, oh, we're all for bringing all these people in here. I can't wait to have Abdul Mohammed Al-Sayed as the next senator. I'm like, huh? Are you serious? Have you seen the stuff his sister has said? In addition to the stuff he said, somebody got to her really quick.
Probably means that Todd Blanche is going to be confirmed maybe even later today as the next Attorney General. As I always say, it's about the math. Once we learned here that Susan Collins a couple of days ago was a no and Lisa Murkowski was a no, it was down to one more Republican senator. Now, Mitch McConnell, the former Senate Majority Leader, he appears back in Washington right now, but he is not voting. And so, you know, it's up to Bill Cassidy. He was the one person who, as he indicated in his floor speech, had been having these conversations.
All right, so I put this in here because Todd Blanche snuck in by the seat of his pants. And those two, Murkowski and Collins, were no votes on the president's attorney general. Susan Collins, who's in a fight for her life up in Maine, wouldn't vote yes on Todd Blanche. So she's effectively telling the president, I don't have your support, nor do I want your support. So what is going to happen up there in Maine? Are they going to let the other commie win? Is she saying basically the middle finger to Maga and Republicans? I don't need you, Murkowski in Alaska? We were talking about Fetterman earlier. Maybe Fetterman comes and one of them goes. It doesn't make any sense. They want to fight Trump for some reason.
Including just before this floor speech this morning with Todd Blanche, and indicated today in that emotional speech that he will vote yes. So by my calculation here, if there's no Democrats who change here, and there's no Republicans who change their position, the vote when they have it should be 50 to 49, with Mitch McConnell being out, with all Democrats, 2 Republicans voting no, Collins and Murkowski.
See, that's one of the problems I have is that Fetterman, a lot of people talk about Fetterman, but yet most of the time he still votes lockstep with the Democrats. He doesn't break. They have an ironclad coalition. They'll do everything together, and that's what we're fighting. They won't vote for anything, not even Attorney General.
When might they do this? Well, they were supposed to have a procedural vote on that this morning. They haven't done that yet, but they could do this afternoon. And what we're seeing today overall in the Senate, as I said in my earlier report, is that they're really stepping on the gas.
Let's talk about affordability. We start with rent, the cost of housing. Why is the cost of housing so high?
All right, this guy, in case you guys don't know, is Bill Ackman, another big hedge fund guy, billionaire up in New York City. He's very prevalent on X. He talks a lot about investing and how things should be. He's very, very smart. I've listened to and watched a lot of his videos, so check this out.
In New York City, because unfortunately, left-wing mayors have made it very difficult for developers to build in New York City. And Mandami, when he freezes rents, he's just going to make the problem worse. There are buildings in New York City, many, many buildings in New York City, where half the tenants, plus or minus, are rent-stabilized apartments. And so their rent is frozen, and the other half are free market. And so what does the landlord do in order to generate enough cash flow to cover his interest expense? Well, he's going to raise rents in the part of because he can't raise them on half the apartments. So there's bad policy that's led to a big part of the affordability problem. Why?
But nobody will talk about that. People will say, what can we do to make things more affordable? And freezing rents isn't it, because the ones that aren't frozen are going to be more expensive. So they have created this basically tornado down the bowl type thing. Is because they can't get themselves out of it. And he can't do it, so he's just trying to take as much taxes from every single place. Same thing like the guy in Minnesota. We got no choice. We can't do the stuff that we want to do.
Is energy costs so high in New York State? It's because we've shut down nuclear power, and it takes 15 years to get a power line approved, a pipeline. We shut down fracking in New York State, and the result is that we're importing, natural gas from Pennsylvania, right? Just bad policy. And we can fix a lot of these problems with much better policy. You look at Florida. Florida's an incredibly well-managed state. They're talking about eliminating, I think they voted recently, eliminate real estate taxes, right? How are they able to do that? Just good policy.
That's something that you guys should all wonder. How the heck are they doing away with property taxes in the state of Florida? How is that even possible? Because we've been told that you have to have property taxes. You will never own your property. You can have a paid off mortgage and you still owe increasingly more taxes to the city where you live. And so we're about to do away with that. And I'm thinking to myself, do people in the other states, Jacob Fry up in Minnesota, are you not seeing what's working? Do you understand why so many people are flocking down here? You're telling people, yes, you can own your home and you're not going to have to pay rent essentially to the government every year, who's going to keep raising that because, they need property taxes.
Austin, Texas, rents have come way down. Why? Because they made it really easy to build. You make it really hard to build in a city where people want to live or they're moving to, and then you don't allow landlords to recover the cost to renovate their units, they're going to pull them off the market. So what's happened in New York, we had like some 60,000 units that are off the market because the cost to renovate them cannot be recovered under the rent regulations.
So that was something that lady who was giving me a hard time. She's like, there's investors who have units and they pull them off the market. Yeah, I'd rather, down here it doesn't work that way, but if I'm in New York, it makes more sense for me to
basically keep it off the market than get into the quagmire involved with the whole Mondami administration. Have you guys running through my building, having this fake tenants union trying to start stuff up? No, I'll just leave it vacant. It's fine with me. I've made money. I don't need to have all these crazy people running up and down the stairs of my building. And so one of the things that people don't realize is business will not cave to these people. They're trying. They're going to do everything they can to make business capitulate. But it's not going to work, because what business will do is business will leave.
You want the Ken Griffins of the world to locate Citadel here. You want him to spend $250 million on an apartment. Why? Because that $250 million purchase made that building economically viable. Well, the construction of that building created how many jobs? How many rich people moved into that building?
Did you see her face? I'm not sure who this is with, but her face is just like, what do you mean? Well, how do we all do stuff if people start pulling out billions? You can't trap people. And Mondami is trying to trap them, and he's trying to use the other people in the city to like basically point the fingers. Even Scott Galloway. Scott Galloway is probably going to get out of New York. He can't walk the streets. I'm pretty sure Bill Ackman needs security.
Who are going to pay, you know, taxes? The system can work very well. You want people at the very top who are, you know, a very small percentage of the population is paying a big, you know, it's something like the top 10% generate 70% of the revenues. That doesn't sound like a particularly unfair. You know, you want to have the Elon Musks of the world, but you don't want to discourage Elon Musk from locating his business here. I mean, look at what's happening in California right now. The United States made it.
She keeps going, hey, wait. Oh my gosh, I just had a great time watching this, because you can just see the anguish in her face.
Such that a 5% wealth tax in California, which they say is one time, first of all, it's never one time. Right? Income taxes were de minimis, and they only applied to a small percentage of the population.
They say it'll be one time, but you're worried it'll come back for more.
It's a certainty. It's a certainty. So we have two big problems. We have enormous waste and fraud in government. And we have bad policy, bad economic policy, bad tax policy. And by the way, there are many things that are unfair about the tax policy that can be fixed. But you know, the answer is socialism. Socialism is a disaster. Okay, watch if Mondami is successful in implementing these plans. Watch what happens to New York City.
Bingo. People who know it can't work. There's no way it can work. And unfortunately for Mondami and some of these crazies that are running around, is that this isn't a country in terms of New York City. It's a city within a country, which means all the people who can, should they choose to, can get up and leave. They're not stuck in Spain. They're not stuck in a certain country. They're like, we're out. We're going to take my $250 billion and gazillion dollars, and I'm heading to Texas or Florida. They want me. They're going to help me make more money. And that's a problem. Like I said from the beginning, there's so many people out there, so many people who have a problem with people doing well. And because people are doing well, they think that the government can somehow make them better. And the government's not prepared to make people better. It's prepared to give you opportunity. It's prepared to get out of your way. It's prepared to allow you so that you can do X or Y without being taxed up the wazoo. It's prepared, the government is supposed to keep you safe so it's not overrun with all these crazies from another country. That's what government's supposed to do. It's not supposed to feed you. And if we've gotten to the point at this juncture where people feel, I got to lean on the government has to take care of me, we're in big trouble. And that's what they're counting on. So when I look at the lay of the land, the only variable that I see that they possibly could win is if they have enough people who feel that the government should be their daddy. If people feel that the government's going to take you and say, we'll make sure everything's okay, you won't have to worry about anything, we're in trouble. If a lot of people buy into that. And I don't understand, because that takes your inner soul away from you. It is stripping everything that you believe in. And it's just like ripping that stuff up. It just goes against the inner nature of a human being to be, quote, taken care of. I'm not your daddy. I'm not your husband. I'm not your benefactor. But that's where they want us to go, because they keep saying it. Oh, we want to do Medicare for all because we want cradle to the grave. That should scare everybody. When you hear cradle to the grave, because they're taking your money and they're telling somebody else, we will take care of you. We will do this. We will feed you. We will house you. We will insure you from the time you're in diapers until the time you're kicking up daisies. We can't afford that. So no, Mark, there's no place to compromise with these people. What's going on? Time to
Hey
go
man,
eat.
we have a storm coming through. I got a couple things real quick.
Down there or up here?
No, here.
Up there. Okay. Let me get you quickly. Let's see.
So the first story, OSINT Defender cut 7, I believe it is. Yeah, 7. So who would have thought that playing all those video games for all those years would lead to this job right here? Check this out. This is cool tech. So they're showing a U.S. Marine assigned to the Marine Cryptologic, yeah, I'm saying that right, Support Battalion, Company B, Marine Corps Information Command. He's operating a first-person view drone aboard a UH-1Y Venom during a technology operational experimentation event near the Marine Corps Air Station, Cherry Point, North Carolina. I mean, this is what it's going to, right? It's not always about bombs. It's about, you know, obviously our enemies are using drones against us as well during this Iran thing, but this is pretty high tech, right? You're sitting in there, you know, and you don't even have to fire a gun. You just send a little drone, you zip around the battlefield and you drop its payload. It's pretty cool.
You know, it's evolving so fast. Let me see if I can find this. I don't know if you saw this. Remember they're saying like certain manual labor jobs would not be taken over by robots? And
are you going to show the Amazon one?
Yeah, did you see that?
Yep. They don't need the illegal drivers anymore with the illegal CDLs, right?
I'm trying to find it. Oh yeah. Oh, check this out. All right. I saw this and I was like, you got to be kidding me. All right, so look at this. This is a robot.
This is different.
Oh, it's a different one? He's laying pavers.
Damn. And he doesn't ever ask for a break, right?
No break.
Sick.
His back doesn't hurt. And I'm like, how the hell does it know the pattern? How does it? I have no idea. But
I'm sure Elon's helped program that. I saw the one where they're in Japan or something, or maybe it was China. They were showing a robot serving coffee.
Yes, I did see that. I saw that as well. The robot was serving coffee. Here's another one. This is nuts. Let me bring it. Check this out.
Let me see your papers.
Oh, it's coming. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
So the thing I saw, Barry, was it was a worker at Amazon. So, you know, a lot of times they have the drivers come in, they back up their the front end of the truck to the trailer and move it to where it's supposed to go in the door. Well, they have a guy going out with like a little kind of like a, I don't know, trolley or something. He scans the truck to see what he needs, and then he backs the things up, and then the thing just pulls the tractor trailer where it's got to go. So it's eliminating. He's getting paid like $18 an hour. See, Amazon's using cheaper labor to do jobs that the truck drivers would have done. Not only that, but you don't know if those guys are illegal.
Bingo. All right. So what's this one?
This is big. Check this out. President Trump just secured the release of the 110th hostage of his second term. I didn't even know we had that many. Did you?
No.
Kevin Rideout.
Where'd he come from?
Niger. A Christian is heading home from Niger after being captured by Islamists. I'm surprised they allowed him to live.
Yeah.
I am happy to reveal that former hostage Kevin Rida is getting ready to fly home to the United States after having been reunited with his beautiful wife, Krista. This return marks the 110th captive American liberated since I was sworn in as president for a second time. I look forward to seeing Kevin and Krista at the White House soon. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's awesome. That's
Wow.
good news right there.
That is. I mean, I wonder did it say how long he was there in captivity? Let me look. Doesn't say.
The truth does not say.
No.
The truth doesn't say. I mean, I can
All right,
grok it.
you got one more here. Well, let's.
Yeah, the last one, Trump, then on another post, he gets ticked off saying, anybody who thinks the reflecting pool wasn't vandalized should go back to law school. I hope he's not referring to our favorite Janine Pirro. Oh, man. I really like her. Anyway, he goes, look what vandals did to the grass connecting the vandalized World War II monument. That's not 11 there for, people in Somalia. And a vandalized reflecting pool, which will be open again and better than ever shortly. This comes after someone also etched 8647 into the grass. Lock the vandals up ASAP. Yeah, you can see it. 8647.
Wow.
Wow. This story would never show up on CNN. You know that. They won't show it.
So I have a question for you.
All right.
Are you ready to compromise with the liberals?
Hell no. I follow him so you don't have to if you don't, but he's posted stuff in the last 30 minutes that I was ready to go. I was like, Barrett, no, enough.
I don't get it.
He doesn't make any sense. He's definitely a paid shill. I mean, he just came out today and said he's got his new channel on YouTube. I will not say what it is, but yeah, it's all about the clicks and money. That's all it is. He can say it's not, but he's full of crap.
But
Sorry,
how do you rationalize putting out a poll and using data and using that? We're supposed to believe the data when we already know you hate Trump and you hate Maga. I don't.
A little bit biased, don't you think?
A lot biased. I mean, how the hell do we look at that and go, yeah, this is a good poll. It's by an unbiased pollster, and he's going to make sure we get the best data. I can't do it. I can't put any credence into what you're saying at that point. So I don't know how we're supposed to trust it. Trust it from anybody.
You want to know what I think? I've stopped believing any polls since 2016 when they said Hillary was going to win by 90%.
Yeah.
And when he won by like almost landslide, it seemed. I mean, yeah, that's when I said polls are full of crap. So I don't. I've been polled maybe once or twice, and but it's all they poll like the small minute the population, and they go to they poll areas that favor what they want, the results. So it's all smoke and mirrors. It's gaslighting.
I've never in my life, both Robin and myself, neither one of us have been polled in our entire. Let me go further. Let me go further with that. Neither one of us have been polled. And neither one of us knows anybody who's been polled. Nobody in our families, nobody. I'm like, it's just so weird. So I don't know how to take this data at any sort of credence at all. So
I stopped showing in your show all those ones like the polls are showing so and so is leading. I look at it's not Mark, but it's other ones like CBS, NBC, the Washington Post. Come on.
If there was anything people needed to see, it was to see that Hong lady was up by 25 and then she lost. I mean, so create absolute insanity. All right. Thing. Hold on. Let me check something. See if President Trump's schedule has come out for tomorrow. It's only 9:30, so I doubt it. So I'll have to wait and. Hold on.
Well, he is back.
He's back, but they don't usually post the schedule until about 10 o'clock. So let me just see if it's already up. Maybe they put it because it's it's up. Let's see. President Trump. He's going to meet that lifeguard that pulled the kid out of the water. He's going to do that.
Yeah, 16-year-old.
1 o'clock. Cool. That's his only public That's his only public event. So I don't think we'll
All right.
go live for that. I'll wait until later and see what transpires. All right. Thank you,
Sounds
Leslie.
good. Have a
All
great
right.
evening, everyone. See
Yes,
ya.
everybody. All right. So let me do super chats and then I'm going to go have some dinner. All right. So Chiosop, they hate prosperity or they're jealous because they bought the doom propaganda and are not making any money. They are mad that the prosperity is passing them by. Could be a lot of anger, and money doesn't disappear. It shifts from one group to another. You have to find a group where it is and join them so you can share in the prosperity as well, which is kind of why I talk about the puck. They even got mad at that. They got mad because I say, skate to where the puck is going. And I guess they just, but I can't even understand. Alec, they don't want prosperity because there won't be dependency on them. They will lose their grip on reins of power. True. Beverly, Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And I think we're seeing that right now. Alec, again, the reason it's coming from Africa is that USA dried up. Yep, the beneficiaries hired armies of trolls to undermine the current administration. Bingo. Lupe, Byron received $330,000 from the pro-Sharia lobby CARE. I've heard that, and I'm going to try and make sure I can confirm that tomorrow. Alec, I haven't seen too many doomsayers on X, mostly MAGA stuff, medical stuff, and police chases. All right. And Alec, 2 more times. Candace will say Israel set her up for the debate as she's cashing the $300,000 check. Alec says hamburgers and burritos don't work. Epstein. Chiosop, a couple of times here. Alec and Chiosop are just killing it. Every time you want to complain about Trump, think of how Kamala would have handled it. Then be thankful Trump is your president. Stop bitching. Well said. Eric Holder was Barry Obama's wingman. What changed now? No, because they're terrified of Todd Blanche, terrified of him. Alec, a couple times, old people in Florida at the early bird buffet. Yes, they do have a few of those. Alec and Chiosop, you guys are killing it here. I'm going to have to use this stuff to get some Bibles. The reason many of them voted for Trump and are now complaining is that they wanted to see perp walks and handcuffs. They missed his agenda completely, which was to detach us from the European economic infrastructure. And the perp walks and the handcuffs, I think as they began digging in, they realized that wasn't going to happen. And if people paid attention, they're like, they own all the judges. That's why, Fauci's probably going to skate this life. Christian Walker's eyes. Future mass pupure. Alec, I can tolerate Caitlin Collins. Kristen Welker makes me cringe. That was an awful interview. Rock and roll team spirit is a joint military exercise in South Korea. It happens every year. I did it in 1990. What a blast. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, wow. We are in a civil and a holy war. Megadeth sung about it in the 80s, 90s. Appetite for Destruction was Guns N' Roses. I got to find that song. Gina, thank you very much. Twice, Banfer, I can call in and sing. I don't care. If you call in and sing, I'd love to have you call in and sing. It would brighten our day. Looking for you. Alberta already has unofficial votes of yes to separation. Wow. That's going to be wild. Andrew Garcia, I'm in a deep blue Southern California red area. Went to the mall, packed, then had sushi, $74 for 3 people. Place was packed, freeways were packed. Real life, absolute real life. Groove Guy, thanks as always, Big B. Thank you. Nathan, the Democrat Party having a DSA in a tent is like having Jeffrey Dahmer advertising his new action this time. Oh, thank you. Tim McCurry. Sean Farish said, stick it up your pooper. He said, well, we all think so many have lost their credibility if they ever had any. That's very true. Very true. Cheer us up. Government promised to be daddy for black women and failed. Yeah, for years, decades. Catalina, why don't we say no taxes instead of more taxes? Oh, that's what we're doing down here. We're saying no more taxes. Neo, the mad media is dead. Too madness must stop. God bless America. Indeed. Catastic. There's a new name. Haven't seen that one before. Let me see. Make sure I can bring that down further. Catastic. Byron keeps changing his stance. He does not want to remove property taxes in Florida like DeSantis does, but he's gonna do it. He may not have wanted to for whatever reason, but he's gonna do it. And Neo, thank you for more Bibles. Thank you for all you guys do. Thank you very, very much. All right, guys, I will see you, and ladies, I will see you tomorrow.
you.